Madam National President, ma'am.
Yeah.
We are 4 minutes past 11 now. Your permission to start.
Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much, ma'am. So, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed NMA, elders, colleagues. I welcome us all to the first ever MWAN NAD collaboration. It's going to be an important one today because we're speaking today about economic empowerment of young doctors. This is an important topic today because it is something which is important for the present and for the future. And we have esteemed speakers on our list. We have our MWAN National President, Dr. Minimi Oseji, who with her usual Oseji effect is going to teach us about innovation in medical business. We have Dr. Akpoveta, who has so many letters after his name in his titles that I think we're going to do so well. He's going to do so well in teaching us about what it is to invest in medical business. We have Dr. Kenneth Uwaje, who has something new to teach us. When we talk about wealth these days, you have to go outside your comfort zone. And Dr. Kenneth Uwaje is doing that to us this morning. And we have Dr. Ifeanyi Egbuchele, who's going to teach us about group medical practice from a resident's perspective. Most of us are resident doctors, and that is exactly what we need to forge ahead. MWAN has put this together, and we have our amiable president who is ensuring that our young doctors are not left behind. Thank you so much, ma'am. And so without wasting time, we're just going to go ahead with opening prayers. I'm going to call on a male today to lead us in prayers, Dr. Nelson Oko. Could you kindly take the opening prayers, Dr. Nelson Oko?
Thank you, Dr. Evo. Good morning, all.
Good morning.
In Jesus' name.
Amen.
Father, Lord in heaven, we thank you for the gathering of your children. Lord, we've gathered to learn under your guidance. Lord, we ask that your grace abound in our learning today, that at the end of it all, we'll have every cause to give you thanks and praise. Be enthroned in this teaching, for in Jesus' mighty name we have prayed. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, Dr. Nelson. We appreciate you. So we have Dr. Oseji. Could you kindly take us in the give the opening welcome address? Hello, ma'am, Dr. Oseji.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am, we can hear you now.
Oh, sorry. I got an interruption from Dr. Akpoveta, so I've sent you a message to please attend to him. Is that okay?
Okay, ma. Same, ma.
Okay, so let me go ahead. Distinguished colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, I bring you very sincere and warm greetings from the National Secretariat of the Medical Women's Association of Nigeria, MWAN, domiciled in Asaba Delta State with permanent headquarters in Abuja, Federal Capital Territory. I'm truly excited for today's meeting on economic empowerment of young doctors. Since January 2021, we've been having monthly series on empowerment, particularly for our medical women. And this time around, we have decided to extend to the medical men with a focus on the young doctors. Several activities have led up to this moment, the most recent of which was our webinar for young doctors on planning your future, wherein I wondered if MWAN could have a collaboration with NAD to be able to organize events that will encourage branching out to group private practice. And so I'm excited that barely 2 months after that event, we are actually doing something like that. And I want to congratulate all who have contributed to this, particularly those from NAD. Secondly, we have had issues about medical tourism, and we've been thinking of ways to reverse medical tourism. And in various fora, both at home and abroad, I have been advocating that there are 3 major ingredients for us to reverse medical tourism. One is to have a systematized quality assurance program that could result in accreditation by internationally recognized accrediting bodies. Secondly is public-private partnership. And thirdly is intramural practice. Underlying all these are various forms of innovation. And so I am very, very glad that we have both the young and the not so young all here to stimulate us with their experience, with their exposure on how this can become a reality. I recollect that when we were preparing for the February Economic Empowerment of Women in Health program, and we're expecting to hear from our renowned Dr. Mma, I told one of my colleagues that some of the lessons that we are going to learn will be applied by some people immediately, but unfortunately, it may take some other people 5 years before they'll be able to apply it. So whichever category you find yourself, we wish you to understand that all our CMEs and presentations and webinars are actually being recorded, they are being archived, they are available, presentations are available. So
Hello, Madam President. Hello, Madam President. We've lost you, ma'am. Hello, Madam President. We apologize sincerely for this break in transmission. Our national president she would join us shortly. I think she's having challenges with her network. While we wait for her to come on, we welcome Dr. Akpoveta, You're welcome, sir.
Sorry, I got caught. So I round up
Yes,
by
sir.
saying I want to appreciate the leadership of NAD. I want to thank all our presenters, particularly Dr. Akpoveta. I'm so happy to see that you're connected now. And thank everyone who has joined us today to participate. We already have 90 people. That is amazing. Thank you all and God bless.
Thank you so much, Madam National President. As usual, you hit the nail right on the head. And we're going to go ahead now to our first speaker.
Can you share my slide? I'm going to be very fast. I have just 20 minutes. So if I try to share it on this side, it may cause problems and my network is fluctuating. So just go ahead so that I can give the.
Okay, you're going to speak before Dr. Isaac.
Yes, I am.
Madam President.
Yes.
Madam President.
Yes.
May I make an appeal? I have a meeting with the Chief of Staff by 1 o'clock.
Oh, that is fine. You can go ahead. You can go ahead.
Please, I will so much appreciate that.
I delayed yours because I wanted more people to listen to you. But if you have something else, please go ahead. You are very free. Thank you so much. So let Dr. Isaac give his presentation.
Okay, sir. So we're just going to be speaking about our first speaker right now. He's Olorogun Dr. Isaac Omarvaye Akpoveta, also known as the Royal Physician. He has so many titles after his name: FAGP, FIHFM, FICMC, CMC Global, MNIM, DMP, DHA, and so on and so forth. He has been schooled at WHO, at Harvard, at London. He's a triple fellow, a fellow of the Association of General and Private Medical Practitioners of Nigeria. He's a fellow of the Institute for Healthcare Finance and Management, and also a fellow of the Institute of Chartered Management Consultants. Wow, I can only imagine what you have in store for us today, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
He's a distinguished medical practitioner. He's a proficient health systems management consultant. He's WHO certified in health systems financing policies for universal health coverage. He's a Harvard alumnus. He's a distinction holder in time management of the London Graduate School. And he's on the verge of being certified in health economics by Middlesex University, London. He graduated with MBBS from the prestigious College of Medicine, University of Lagos. He's the pioneer secretary, deputy president, acting president, and national president of the Healthcare Providers Association of Nigeria. As I posted earlier, he's a detribalized Nigerian. Obviously, from his name, he's from Delta State. Yet, he has held positions in Lagos State Environmental Protection Agency, Lagos State Transmission Board, by the then Executive Governor of Lagos State, His Excellency Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and renewed by his successor, Fashola. He was also the chairman of the governing board of University of Calabar Teaching Hospital, Cross River State, appointed by His Excellency, the President of Nigeria, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. He midwifed the Delta State Contributory Health Insurance Bill, which was passed into law in 2015. And thus, he is currently the chairman of the governing board of Delta State Contributory Health Commission. For anyone who is in Delta State, we know the success of the Contributory Health Scheme. He's a multiple traditional title holder. He's the Oborode of the Great Ugeli Kingdom. He's the Awaroswo of the Great Ugeli Kingdom, Delta State. He's the Bawosan of Ogbaland, Lagos State. He's a man of honor. He's a philanthropist. He's an erudite scholar, as we can see from all those titles. The titles are even more than his name. He's a proficient health system consultant and a believer in positive ideology. He has remained most dedicated and committed to the creator of public value, which is what he's about to deliver to us today. I present to you, sirs and ma'as, distinguished medical doctors, Olorogun Dr. Isaac Omarvaye Akpoveta. Thank you, sir. You have the floor. Dr. Isaac, sir, you have the floor. You can go ahead. Dr. Isaac, you're muted. Dr. Isaac, you're muted.
I'm muted now. All right.
Okay,
Can you hear
great.
me now?
Yes, we can. Please go ahead.
Thank you for all the stories. I'm going to go straight to the topic at hand. First, let me say that, are you with me?
Yes, we are, sir.
Good.
Please go
I
ahead.
just want to say that investing in the medical business is a great thing. But I want to say from the beginning that if you look at the first 20 richest men in the world, you hardly find a doctor there. If you find a doctor there, the history will tell you that he didn't get his wealth from medical practice or medical business. And so we must take that into consideration. The first thing is, let's look at some terms. Invest. If you invest, you are looking into the future, you want a better future. Better, that is the language. You are doing well today, but want it better tomorrow. And so you invest. So investment is key. Simple saying, save for tomorrow. But savings can depreciate, but investment usually appreciate. Then business, what is business really? It's simply defined by Wikipedia as any activity or enterprise entered into for profit. And this is what leads us to the second thing. Is this medical practice a business? We won't have time to look into the details here, but in the US, healthcare is now strictly a business term. I hope you are seeing my slides.
Yes, we can.
Good.
Yes.
Healthcare is now strictly a business term. Healthcare organizes doctors and patients into a system where that relationship can be financially exploited and much more money extracted as often as possible by hospitals, clinics, health insurance, pharmaceutical industry, medical devices, etc. But when I was in the medical school, I did a small discussion with my colleagues, and I said, is medical practice a humanitarian or a business? And surprisingly, 75% of them said it was a humanitarian business. We have to care for people, make them well, and that is the end of medicine. But few of us then, 25% or less, did as a business. And like I'm looking into the future from 1984 to date, I can tell you those out of that 25, I can count well over 10% or 15% of that doing very well, medically and financially. And so this medical business must be considered. Medical practice, we must differentiate between the medical practice aspect of it and medical business aspect of it. Medical practice simply treating malaria, typhoid. You work home, working for government, and you wait for a salary at the end of the month. A medical business, you can combine the practice with a business component of it. You open a private hospital, and then you treat patients. You ensure that you charge an amount far and above your investment, and then you make a profit, and you are doing well. And so, please, I want everyone, the young doctors, as they call you, those of them they call the young doctors, remember, medical practice can become medical business. It is in medical business component of it that you will do well. The truth is that if you are working for someone and you are rich and you are wealthy, you must be a thief. You work for government, and at the end of the day, you can build a powerful house, you can buy Lexus, you can do that, you must be stealing. But if you work for yourself and people work for you in your medical practice, you can disguise it's not even your limit in terms of wealth creation. So let us remember that medical practice can become medical business, and medical business is a profit-oriented concept. Now, let us introduce some few terms. Economists will define investment as a purchase of goods to create wealth. The finance will say that it's a monetary asset for this purpose because for it to appreciate and sold later. To invest is to allocate money, sometimes another resource such as time. It's in the expectation that the benefit will accrue for you in future. Hence, the term time is money. In making investment, though, you must look at the risk and the return and compare the two. Risk is important to look into. When you invest an asset, stock, bond, mutual fund, or medical devices, you must know that there is a risk involved because it can depreciate. The investment can fail. Of course, no venture, no success. Then there's the concept of return on investment. You invested 1 million, you should expect not a return of 1 million, not a return of 900,000, but 1.2 million or 1.5 million. So there's a return on investment, they call it ROI, return on investment. These are some of the terms. The risk factor, generally the higher the risk, the higher the return, or the higher the failure. So there's no absolute guarantee, but you must take risk, no venture, no success. There is something I want to show you. No time for that, but the link is there on the table. Healthcare business challenges in Nigeria. It's written by a professor, a fellow, an MBA holder, a non-Nigerian, and it's very an insightful topic. We won't have time to go through it here, but I want you to read it, and you will see the challenges that you will face. But interestingly, you look at that article closely, you will find out that the challenges in Nigeria will make the government system of hospital business fail, but will create a room for the private sector to thrive, incidentally, ironically. So if you read this article very well, it will tell you why the failure of the system in Nigeria is failing, but that failure is what gives room to a private sector thriving. And so it is important you look at this link. Diversity is important in investment. You must have multiple streams of income. If you have only one source of income, first, the income will be limited. Two, anything happening to that string, you are off business line. But you have 2, 3 source of income, business income, you'll be sure that you'll be able to survive any upheaval in the economy. Regulations are important. One of the things you must know before you delve into medical practice, there are rules that regulate medical practice or medical business. For medical business, there's one aspect we discussed very well in this topic, aspect of private-public partnership. It is guided by the ICR Commission. You need to read this. If you Google it, ICRC, you Google it, you have guidelines for private practice, guidelines for private-public partnership. That's very important in investment in health, in business system. Now, investing in the healthcare sector. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, please go ahead.
Okay. The healthcare sector is made up of many different industries. We have the pharmaceutical, the medical devices, we have insurance, we have hospital system, laboratory, diagnostic, distributors. You can decide anyone you want. They have different dynamics. Choose the one you want to take part in, and this is very important. Healthcare investing requires a multifaceted approach to understand the underlying drivers. Investors can profit from investment in the overall sector and all in industries or in a specific device or device. This you must understand. Now, when deciding on a healthcare company to invest in. You can decide to invest without even leaving your home. If you have money, you have inherited money, you have borrowed some money, which I would not advise to start with, you can decide to invest in companies. For example, you have invested in Pfizer and you discover this vaccine that is everywhere in the world now. You can be sure that the stock of Pfizer will skyrocket very soon and you will make millions overnight. That's an investment. You have invested in the health sector. So you must look at the area you want to invest in. Is it technological advances? Is it companies that deal with diabetes and obesity drugs? Is it going to deal with drugs like vaccines that are used in pandemics? If you are a good and clever investor, as soon as this pandemic started, you should know that vaccine and company producing vaccine will become the hot cake. And you start buying shares from those companies. And by now, in a short while, you're a millionaire or a billionaire. And so investing could be only into the sector generally without leaving the comfort of your home. But there's other opportunities you must consider. You can do an indirect investment. Like I said, in research companies, innovative companies, production companies, marketing and distribution companies. Buy their stocks, buy their shares, deposit money for them, place bonds. This is kind of investment that you also consider. This is okay. You can be consulting in your hospital or working in government and you put money in this company and at the end of the year, you have dividends, or you can be selling the shares at interval and making money. So you share the stock exchange for companies that are dealing in these areas, and if you want to invest in bonds and fixed deposits and so on, you can do that. Then you must also look at direct investment. You can purchase and sell of end products, medical device and equipment. This is an area that I dealt with for years, and I can tell you very, very productive. It's very profitable. You can import, you can even buy local, and you can sell from one end to the other. Two, you can purchase and provide healthcare services with the device. Now you can purchase an X-ray machine, you can purchase an MRI, and come to the teaching hospital and negotiate with them. You want to put your MRI there, and then you share profit with them. So you can purchase that. You can even set up a center on your own and run a health and X-ray center. You don't even have to be a radiologist. Of course, you can always employ one. You can set up a health facility, hospital, clinic, diagnostic, and so these are direct investments that you can do. Now, I will talk about this kind of access to finance program in my commission as we go on. Then partnership. There are many types of partnership. You can do a partnership with government, partnership with your colleagues, group practice, a partnership. So public-private partnership is a model. We have the BON, build, operate, and maintain. BOT, build, operate, and transfer. Build, transfer, and operate. Renovate, operate, and transfer. These are different types of public-private partnership. And we may not have time to observe each of them, but I want to talk about the last one here, ROT. In Delta State, the commission, Delta Contributed Health Commission, we decided to create what we call access to finance. We found out that there are many hospitals in areas by Chevron, by NDDC that are not operating. And big hospitals, big clinics in a very vast area in the rural area. And what we did was that we made funds available along with BOI, Bank of Industry, and with some other banks. And if you can come to Delta, pick up one of these hospitals in the rural area with a population of about 5,000 to 6,000 people living around that hospital, you borrow money up to 40 million, you will go and renovate that facility, bring in your doctors, your nurses, your general workers, and start operating the place. Now, what is our role? We give you the facility. We also give you the relief. All the people in the persons living in that zone, 5,000, 3,000, all will be registered in your clinic. We pay you fee for service for that, and then you are in big money. In fact, there are some hospitals already receiving 20 million fee for service to capital payment a month as I'm talking. So there is renovate, operate, and transfer. Transfer is in about 5 years' time, we'll renegotiate the contract. If you are still interested in continuing, we'll reorganize it. If you are not, we transfer it back to the state and we'll hand it over to somebody else. These are ways you can make money. In fact, in Delta, we believe now there will be a brain reversal. People are now coming from abroad, coming from Lagos, coming from other parts of Nigeria, transferring their brain, instead of draining it from Nigeria, draining it back to Delta and actually draining to the rural area. This is very important. I think anybody who's interested should contact myself. Our Madam President is a member of board of this commission. You can talk to her. She can bring you in, and you can make money here without going abroad. Then there is private partnership. You could establish a diagnosis center in a well-established private hospital and run it. They give you the space, they give you the patients, you bring the equipment and the technical know-how, and you run it jointly and share the profit. It's a win-win situation, and I think you should look into that area. Then more specifics, we have the non-clinical support services that government is interested in doing PPP with anybody. The mortuary department, you can run it for the government. Security, laundry, maintenance of clinical equipment as a biomedical engineer. Amenity ward, you can build it and can run it, and of course you make money. You share it with the system. The catering department, ambulance services, and so on are part of specific non-clinical support services that can turn into business in government hospitals. We have the clinical support service. Of course, the intramural practice have been there, looking for all cadres of health professionals. Many doctors are doing that from hospital to hospital. Restorative and rehabilitative physiotherapy setup, we can set up in a big hospital. There are many hospitals in Delta, about 63 or 65 general hospitals. Most of them only have this facilities. You can come, establish the physiotherapy in one, and I can show the whole local government physiotherapy need will be transferred to you. You can come and put a CT scan, an MRI, and an X-ray machine in any of these facilities, and then you can run it. These are clinical support services that you can do. Insurance, PPP model, I've discussed one with you just now about our commission, running one with you. There are small medical business across everywhere. So this link I put in here, I won't bother to open them. Please open them. You will see so many type of small medical businesses that you can key into. Some of them you don't even need to leave the comfort of your home. You don't need to leave your present job while you are doing that and making money. Now, conclusion. In conclusion, it is a fact to state that investment in medical business could be a profitable one. The opportunity is very huge as well as the challenges. Therefore, one must understudy the dynamics and regulatory framework so as to monitor the environment closely and be able to do a good medical business. I wish you a good luck. I wish you good luck as you invest. Thank you. My topic is very short, but it's like a syllabus to you. Work on each of the points I've mentioned. It can be expanded to give you a lot of information and a lot of knowledge about medical practice. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Akpoveta. Indeed, you are an erudite scholar. All through your presentation, you are giving us more assignments to go back home and study. Yeah. Thank you for so much, sir. We are resident doctors. We're in the business of studying. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
So we have a lot of questions in the chat, but before I go ahead, I would want to say kudos to Delta State, especially under the leadership of our present governor, who is a medical doctor. We can see his impact. We are having brain gain in medical state and not brain drain. So we thank God for that. Thank you, sir, for your good leadership, and also to our MWAN National President, Dr. Oseji. We know that wherever she is, the Oseji effect would be felt. For anyone who does not know the Oseji effect, please private chat me and I would explain that to you. Thank you, sir, for all the options we have given. We have several questions, but I'm going to start with Dr. Amina Batsure, whose hands is up. Dr. Amina, could you please unmute yourself and ask your question? So before she does that, I'm going to start from a question from a past NMA National President, Dr. Omede Idris. Thank you, sir, for being here with us. He's asking, what are the rational terms and time frame for partnership on the BOM, BOT, BTU, ROT? Are there any pilot studies or success stories so far? That's from Dr. Omede Idris, a past NMA National President. Well, we also have a question from, sorry, sir, should I repeat?
Yeah, no, just the PPP. Now, can you repeat that question again?
What are the rational terms and time frame for partnership on PPP? Are there any pilot studies or success stories so far?
Okay.
Dr. Andrew Akko is asking, is combining private practice with government work allowed in Nigeria legally, especially for young doctors? Dr. Nelson Oko is asking, can a medical doctor run a pharmaceutical service without the license of a pharmacist?
Okay.
And we have that also from Dr. Obioko. So we have those 3 questions for now, sir.
Yes, the first one, the PPP time frame. There's no time frame. There's the terms are there. No time frame. You can walk in. You can study a particular environment. Take a vibrant general hospital in your locality, for example, and go in there and look whether they have some of these things. And do they need MRI? Do they have a patient flow for that? Or they need a digital X-ray? Do they have one in place? And if not, do they need it? These are the discussion with the consultants in that environment. After this initial check by yourself, you will now be able to find out that there's a particular need of that hospital and the environment. And then you can go into negotiations with them. So terms are negotiated.
Hello, sir, we've lost you. We can't hear you anymore.
Dr. Ekpo, please remove Dr. Akpoveta's slide so I can share mine.
Okay, ma'am. I don't have your full slides yet, ma'am. So it's still being received in my laptop.
So remove Dr. Akpoveta's slide. I want to attempt to share mine.
Okay. I made you a co-host, ma'am, so you can share yours. You can just go ahead and share yours.
Host disabled participant sharing screen.
Oh, that's unusual. Okay, so I'm using okay. So I've made your other device. I've made you a co-host with your other device.
Make all of them, because you may not know which one it is. Make all of them co-host, please.
Okay, done, ma'am.
All right, thank you. All right, okay.
So we hope Dr. Akpoveta would come up. We have so many questions. We hope he would come back and attend to all his questions.
I'm back now.
I think he's back.
Great.
He's back.
Great.
Back.
Okay, so sir.
So quickly,
sir, please.
In terms of whether pilot study, there are active situation in place at the moment. If you come to Delta, the teaching hospital in Delta have similar arrangement. We also have the specialist hospital have such arrangement already. And so you can come and visit them and they will give you their success story that have been on for many years across country. I'm aware that MRIs are placed in hospitals by private business organizations. So in terms of private, public, working in private hospital while you're in public service, legally no. But worldwide, it's a very big problem. Even in London, in England, NHS has a very big problem of doctors working in NHS and also doing private practice. It's a big problem because there are shortages of personnel across the world. And that leads to that, but it's not purely legal. And so be careful when you practice it. If you are caught, well, don't say Akpoveta asked you to go and do it. If you see it's not legal, but you can do some little private practice at your spare time. Then the pharmacy and Lancing. Pharmacy business is a business. In fact, people who are not doctors, are not nurses, they are not pharmacists, are running chain of pharmacies across the world. All you need to do is to employ a pharmacist with his license and pay him well. You will still make a good profit for yourself. Any more questions, please?
Yes,
Now,
sir.
in terms of success story of ROT success story, I can tell you I have one in Delta at the moment. The governor approved 25 hospitals, moribund hospitals, to be converted to access to finance programs, where about 15 of them operating right now, and a lot of them have success stories to tell. I can assure you. You need to come for one-on-one talk. The environment here, the time frame won't allow to discuss this. Your chairman can bring you in, and you can find time to consult me as the chairman of the commission. And there are many other ways you can discuss. Any other questions?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Dr. Nelson Oko, your hand is up. Do you have a question, please?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Well, thank you, sir, for the presentation. I have a bit of a question regarding the practice in an institution where you lack, maybe you're a surgeon. I don't know. Can you hear me, sir?
I can hear you very
yes,
well.
We can hear you.
Now, if you are a surgeon, for instance, let me assume a characteristic surgeon, you're working in an institution that doesn't have the equipment you would naturally use for your surgeries. And you are able to actually finance them yourself, and you bring it into the hospital and you use it routinely in your practice in the hospital. Is it ethical to charge for those instruments you're using in that facility, business-wise? Thank you very much.
Well, what I would say here is a matter of negotiation. If it's a government hospital, you need to discuss this beyond the hospital environment at the ministry level. Our chairman here, Mr. Oseji, is the permanent secretary of the ministry. She might be able to give you insight into that. But I think nothing is out of place if you discuss it and the hospital system or the government say they cannot purchase, you bring it in and they agree on a proportional sharing of profits. Yes, they can. And you could, it's possible.
Thank you so much.
Right. Any other question?
No, sir, for now, that is it.
Okay,
We would appreciate if you could join us.
Yes, let me just add that intramural practice in government hospitals, what you have just done is about that area. So look into it and discuss with your MD and the ministry overseeing you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. We have another hand up, Dr. Chima Edoga. Sir, we really want to take all your questions before you leave. Dr. Chima Edoga, you can go ahead and ask your question, Dr. Chima.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. This is Dr. Chima, ARD President, ESUT. Are there frameworks that Delta has in terms of documents and policies where one can access it, maybe online or maybe through email, because the models that works in Delta should actually be replicated in some states. Thank you very much.
Yes, just take note. Our website is www.dschc.org.ng. www.dschc.org.ng. If you open into the website, you will be able to download a lot of things about the commission. Yes, right. Thank you for putting up there. You will have a lot of things to download in the commission. On the access to finance, it is also there. But in case you couldn't get enough information, I'm available. My number is 080 330 17 633 17659. You can send me a WhatsApp to this number or you can make a call. I pick my call at any time of the day.
Wow.
Are we there?
Wow. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for being
Yes,
open
yes,
to
yes.
us. It's unusual to see a medical elder who is being, you're just opening yourself up to us younger ones, and we appreciate you so much. We hope that with this, every young doctor here will key into the system in Delta State and even replicate it in their states. Thank you, sir, for this opportunity you have given us this morning. God bless you, sir. And so, without further ado, we're going to have our amiable, sorry,
Yes.
sir, we hope you can join us even after the meeting you have, because I'm sure there are others who have more questions and they would want you to be, they will want you to be on board even towards the end of the meeting during our question and answer session. So we hope you will join us again, sir.
Yes, I can also say that, so let me put it this way. With my phone number, with my WhatsApp, you can send any message, I will reply them. I don't think I'll be able to come out of that meeting before you think. Thank you.
Oh, great. Thank you so much, sir. God bless you. We have learned a
Madam
lot.
President, thank you for giving me this occasion. Madam President, yes. Madam President, thank you very much, and I thank the association and NAD for this opportunity to talk to the world and to talk to you. We're ready. We've been in the service for quite some time. We're ready to share our knowledge with anyone, especially the younger generation, for the prosperity of Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. So without further ado, we're going to have the National President, Medical Women's Association of Nigeria. She is the Permanent Secretary, Delta State Ministry of Health, where all this magic is happening right now in the medical business. I'm sure we're all waiting to hear exactly what she has to say, because she has been in the heat of it, and she's ensuring that Delta State is a pace setter in the medical business. Please, I present to you Dr. Minimi Oseji, our National President. You can go ahead, ma'am.
Thank you so much. I really want to be fast because my network is fluctuating, and I just want to see if I can rush through before something really goes bad. So I'm going to be talking about innovation in healthcare, and my slide, it says, I hope from the beginning, is sharing, okay. This is the outline, and it's all in the imagination. Can you imagine that we will have a Nigeria where kidnapping is only found in movies? We do not have friends or relatives that have been kidnapped, where all roads are tied to the doorsteps of households, where power supply is uninterrupted, where hardly any woman dies while giving birth. So someday, maybe 2023, March, President Buhari's administration will say they've achieved SDG targets for maternal and infant mortality rates as Nigeria achieves universal coverage. It's possible, but it has to start with imagining it. And then we start crawling, leaping, and flying to that point. So if you look at sustainable development goals, you have a focus. You look at maternal mortality ratio, 70, less than 70 per 100,000 live births. We are about 512. You look at men who can make informed decisions about their sexual relations and contraceptive use. You look at the issue of access to justice for all, and what are the indicators? And then you now go on to how do you improve performance? We have performance improvement examples in civil service using Singapore, Dubai. And for you to know whether you are actually getting there, you need indicators, just like we talked about the SD indicators. Maternal mortality ratio. How many states can say that they know what the maternal mortality ratio for their state is? Whichever way you are doing it, whether you're doing it for health facilities, for primary health centers, or all three, primary, secondary, tertiary, private, whichever one, even if it is just your own facility, can you tell what your maternal mortality ratio is? Number of successful rescue missions for emergencies. If you have an ambulance service, how many rescue missions are being carried out? If you don't have any record of rescue missions, that means the ambulance service is not working. Number of enrollees into your health, your contributory health scheme. These are things that you can use to monitor your performance. Now, you expect, we've had situations where people go for study tours within and outside. And when they have been done, next thing is a plan of action for mainstreaming best practices learned. Unfortunately, a lot of people go for study tours and they do not come back with even a report. Others go, they write a report, nobody reads it. So the study tour was actually for empowerment, to get people to get ESTA code and feel loyal to the government of the day. Then you do send mystery clients or undercover shoppers to periodically assess performance. And then staff with outstanding performance and good customer relations should be rewarded publicly. That was what they were doing in Dubai, and performance improved. So most times when you have a new administration coming in, you see a lot of people with portfolios coming with innovative ideas. And the administration is now inundated with all kinds of proposals. And what I always tell people is that when you have that situation, the acid test to assist in selection of the proposals is let that proposer tell you where he or she has done that project before. What was the impact of that project and how much did it cost? If they can answer these three questions, fine, you may come somewhere in a community and then come back and give results. So that is exactly what M1 is doing. M1 has put up pilot projects all over the country, and the results, hopefully, if you stay until our monitoring and evaluation session, is going to be very brief today because of this expanded program we're having in collaboration with NAD. You will see some of the results of what we have gotten to do in the pilot. And the beauty of that pilot is that we're able to scale up, we're able to advocate and say, this is what we did, this is also amount. These are the number of people we treated.
Madam National President, we've lost you. Madam MP Ma, we've lost you. We can't hear you anymore, and your screen is frozen. We will apologize for this break in transmission. We apologize for this. Madam National President will be back with us shortly. Well, Madam National President, okay, she has started screen sharing again. Hello, Ma, can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Yes.
Just give me a minute to sort myself out.
It's like she has two devices on. I think she should put off one.
Yes,
Yeah,
Madam National President, could you please put off your video and use just the audio? Maybe that would help with the sound.
And if she has two devices on, she should actually totally mute one.
Remove the device, remove the audio from the others. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've put off all the videos, and
yes, this is way better.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so let me just move on. So quickly, I'm trying to get back to my previous slide. Screen. Okay, so when we talk about time management, you have a meeting, there's no action points. That meeting is useless. You have the action point, you don't follow up, you are not serious. So most times you don't even need meetings. Thank God we have all learned how to become ICT compliant because of COVID. So you find that there are more efficient ways of getting things done. All this is part of innovation. So now we had a project that was giving reward for good work, the SOML. Somehow it didn't give us the way we expected, but at the beginning, those days were doing well, were being rewarded. And I'm going to give you some examples from Dubai. I talk about Dubai a lot because for 4 years, 2015, 17, 18, and 19, I've been visiting Dubai to attend the Arab Health program. And these are some of the innovations that I have gotten from those meetings. First was in 2015. I heard about 3D printing for the first time. They said 3D printing, well, it wasn't really the first time. The first time was on Grey's Anatomy. And I just couldn't understand when they were talking about 3D printing. They brought out one machine and said they have to use it. They were queuing, different departments were queuing to use the machine. And they said it was 3D printing. It was not until 2015 that I had the opportunity to find out how 3D printing was changing medicine. And doctors use 3D printing hearts to help save the baby's life. So this is an example of it. You have the machine, it prints electronically based on some device, and then you now have a model which shows you exactly what the person's organ looks like. So this is actually a heart that was printed, and this is done before the heart surgery. And so it makes it faster because the surgeon goes through all the procedures using the model of the 3D prints. So that is something which I do not know whether we are planning to have in Nigeria. Then again, we talked about the future of surgery, and there were so many aspects. Robotics, they were talking about less cutting, more robotics, and they even talked about bloodless surgery. And you know, we have a large population of Jehovah's Witnesses that want us to use alternatives. So all this is available, which we should begin to consider, implementing. We also have different aspects of robotic surgery. We have reaching new places, unassisted robotic surgery, insertable robotic effector platform, and then we have keyhole surgery, which is also minimal invasive surgery. A lot of us are already doing that now. And then you have laser surgery. It's really interesting because it was on CNN that I heard about the first laser eye surgery that was done. The person who invented it, she actually used, I think, monkeys or chimpanzees, and she started trying it on humans, and were actually able to restore blind sight. And laser is actually an acronym for light amplification by stimulated emission of radiation. I do not know whether we are moving in that direction. Now, I am not a surgeon, but I'm a policy maker. The benefit of a policymaker having this information is that if a surgeon brings such a proposal, I will be able to do something about it. We also have in 2017, the 3D Medical Printing Conference. After hearing about 3D in 2015, I became more interested because I was interested about medical engineering, and 3D is part of biomedical engineering. And they talked about the 50 best innovation in 2010, and 3D printing was one of them. So if we haven't even started talking about it, if we haven't started imagining it in Nigeria, then we cannot get there. At that conference, we also had more information about biomanufacturing for regenerative medicine. And we talked about bone regeneration, we talked about nerve regeneration, and also things that you could do for abnormal aortic aneurysms. And these are some of the models that are printed as part of those activities and procedures. So they concluded that continuing advances in medical imaging and computational power are now erupting, enabling rapid and reliable tools to be developed, which can generally assist in aneurysm diagnostics. These analytic tools are also proving to be valuable in predicting the long-term performance of treatment devices such as abdominal aortic stent grafts. These are things that are coming up, and we hope that we can key into them. In 2017, we also had a health business forum and talked about accrediting your health care facility. It was in Dubai that I heard about JCI accreditation for the first time. And this was because I was visiting some hospitals in Dubai, and I kept seeing them with plaques, JCI accredited. And here they gave out reasons why JCI accreditation is the world gold standard. And then I tried to find out if there was any hospital in Nigeria that was JCI accredited. I Googled and I found out that Lagoon Hospital was the only hospital in Nigeria that was JCI accredited. And so I started doing inquiries, and we were able to get the quality control, the quality assurance director to start facilitating the process of accreditation in Delta State. And I'm very happy to say we have funding to start a quality assurance program in Delta State and to even consider applying for these forms of accreditation. That's a lot more about accreditation, and the take-home point for accreditation is quality. Do it right the first time. We don't always get a second chance. So when we consider medical errors, we consider life, we need a quality assurance program to ensure that we are doing no harm. Then again, they talked about setting up your own clinic, the strategic and logistics aspects. I'm happy that young doctors like the residents are thinking about group private practice, and we'll hear about that later in today's event. And the big decision, starting my own practice partner, taking over an existing practice, to join a single or group practice as equal or junior partner. These are all the options that can present to oneself. But then you have to remember that there are disruptive technologies in healthcare, such as robotics. Robotics is revolutionizing the healthcare industry. We also have SMAC, social, mobile, analytic, and cloud. You have telemedicine, telepathology, teleradiology, teledermatology, telepsychology. Is a boom to the underserved remote areas with poor access healthcare. So when you, as a young doctor, you're thinking of having a private practice, these are the types of innovation that will make you stand out from the crowd. And so today I will do what others won't so that tomorrow I can do what others can't. That should be the watchword. By 2018, I started hearing about things like proton therapy. Can I have a show of hands if you have heard of proton therapy? I want you to just electronically show your hand so that we have 174 people. We'll be able to say how many people have. Please show your hands electronically. One, okay, fine. I've seen 1, 2, 3, 4, fine. Beautiful. At least 4 out of 178 or 6, 7. Beautiful. More people. I'm happy. Maybe we'll get to 20. But even if we are 20 out of 178, it's still so small. So I was hearing about proton therapy for the first time, and it was talking about the various efforts that are required. And we're told that in the next decade, over 30% of all radiotherapy will be with particle therapy. We'll be looking at biologics, immune cell, genetic modulators will address adjuvant microscopic targets. Radiotherapy will address macroscopic residual disease. And then you have smaller accelerators / beam delivery systems, 50% reduction in size, limited by angular momentum of particles, and the cost of particles will decline by 70%. So, policymaker, nobody has brought a proposal of proton therapy at all. If we're going to introduce this innovation, our hope is the young doctor. And these are some of the cases that benefit most from protons. When you get the slide, you're able to read these details better. Then, again, there was this experience of augmented reality healthcare education. Now, what I have there is like this is a 3D goggle, and it allows you to see into a mannequin, and the organs are all like you have it in the human being. And you can use this to train people. It is more or less like self-training because it's all automated. And so you now apply it like an ultrasound on a mannequin. And because of the 3D goggle and all the devices, you see the image on the screen. and it assesses you and gives you a score. So as you are now being, maybe you are trying to do the heart, you're trying to do the liver, the kidneys, and so on, different organs. If you get it right, it will score you. And so you will begin to continue. This is from somebody who does not have any knowledge of ultrasound before. And as you continue to manipulate, the probe, gradually your proficiency increases because you will see your score and you now say, okay, it's because I did it this way. That's why I got 5 or 10. Let me continue. So the more you practice, so before you know it, you have taught yourself using this device to be able to become proficient in ultrasound. Then by 2019, some of the things that we saw were the issue of non-latex glove solutions because of allergies. A lot of physicians and health workers get allergies to the gloves that we are using. And so Ansel came out with an innovative solution. We also have the issue of double gloving, where there was a breakthrough, and this was part of it, where the pre-done double glove system, one done and you're done. So you don't have to wear the double glove one after the other, and that makes it more efficient. That was also an innovation. And then we also had this Incrediware, which I benefited. They are forms of supports for different joints for people who have one form of musculoskeletal problem or the other. And they are impregnated with ions to make pain relief even more effective. So this is an example of a knee support in a mannequin, and I benefited. I got one of the knee supports, and because I've been using knee support for chronic arthritis, I found out that it was much better, gave more pain relief. Unfortunately, I just took one, and now I'm trying to get the other. When I tried to contact the company, they were talking about how many containers do you have. So if there is anybody, how many containers do you need? If there is anybody that is interested in getting this into this country so that a lot of people can have better relief, you don't need to be on drugs so much for pain of osteoarthritis and so on. And you have different types. You have the shoulder support and so on. And even for surgeons who will begin to have pain after standing in theater for so long, this could also be something that they can use. And then we also had enhanced endoscopic imaging, endoscope technology. This was the man trying to introduce it, was actually planning to bring it to Nigeria. And they have these devices which you can use to practice how to do colonoscopy using the mannequin. And you watch it on the screen and you see how proficient you are. I tried it, and at the time I began to desire to become a gastroenterologist, but I think I will stick to my public health for now. So with all this innovation, the question is, what can we do? What are we focusing on? Thank God for Dr. Akpoveta's presentation. He has already given us some highlights, but specifically in Delta State, we've been looking at diagnostic services, facility management, completion of central hospital Asaba, which has been done, and a lot of it is PPP. We can tell you more about that. Provision of health information systems in our teaching hospital, medical products production. We're trying to get our bottled water factory, and hopefully once we do that, we'll begin to think of going into injection water infusions, and from there we go into syruping, and finally into capsules and tablets. It is doable. The problem is the political commitment and the professional commitment. Sometimes the professional commitment is there, the political commitment is not there, and vice versa. We talk about medical equipment, supply and maintenance, healthcare, waste management, emergency medical services, research and development of herbal medicine, awareness creation on matters of public health importance, staff training, medical village for medical tourism. If you go to Dubai Healthcare City, everything there is either is a clinic, is either is a pharmacy, is either is a diagnostic. So everything there is just about medicine and healthcare. We hope to have that. So talking about local manufacturing of drugs and medical devices, this will not only improve accessibility and availability of health services, but to create jobs. And then telemedicine has the potential for reversing the tide on medical tourism. So these are two areas that we would like to emphasize on in the near future. An example of local manufacturing of drug is the inventor of Edotide, Professor Izevige, who was formerly the VC of Benson Idahosa University, and he was able to use Vernonia amygdalina, which is bitter leaf, to produce this drug, Edotide, which is both FDA and NAFDAC approved. Now, if you look at medical skills and services database, when I first got into the Ministry of Health, I was wondering, all these medical assistance people were asking the government's support for, what exactly were they asking for? And where were they going? So I asked the Department of Medical Services and Training to give me a rundown of what they were doing or what they were applying for. And this is what they gave me in 2016. And so after that, we decided to create a medical services and skills database for our health facilities in Delta State, both public and private. So DELSUT has quite a number of some of those things that people would have wanted to go out for. And then we also had Capitol Hill, and we also had Lilly Hospital. Both of them are in Warri. DELSUT is in O'Hara. So we are expecting that one way of dealing with innovation is to have a medical skills and services database, so that before anybody says they want to jet out of the country, they go through that database to see if there are facilities in Nigeria where these services and skills are. And they can now have at least an option, an alternative. The other aspect is intramural practice. Dr. Akpoveta touched on it. I'm going to touch a little more, and I will refer you to where you can get more information. Permitting intramural practice in government hospital will encourage medical consultants to use their own funds to sponsor themselves for training in new procedures and procurement of new equipment when they know that a reasonable percentage of the funds generated from rendering such high-tech services will be provided for them to recoup their investment. Why I know that this is a reality is that I have interacted with 3 consultants. 2 were sponsored by NDDC to go abroad and get some skills. But because they were sponsored, they didn't buy the equipment. And by the time I was following up on their training, they said they have forgotten all that they had learned. And before they were able to do anything, they have to go back and be retrained. That was a waste of resources. Then the 3rd person actually sponsored the person and went out to 3 different places, India, Port Harcourt, and Ghana, and bought equipment and began to use the equipment. And the hospital where the person is working has now bought their own equipment to utilize those services. So different strokes for different folks. That is what intramural practice can do. But if you expect that the government will be able to fund all these things, we're not there yet. So intramural practice is the next best thing. It will gradually stem the huge tide of medical tourism that has besieged our nation. And you can learn more about that from my mentor's book, My Life, My Medicine, a Chief Medical Director Story, written by Professor Aki Oshibogu, CMD Lutz, 2006 to 2014. So our take-home points. Goal 8, Sustainable Development Goal, says promote inclusive and sustainable economic growth, employment, and decent work for all. By 2030, we want to devise and implement policies to promote sustainable tourism that creates jobs and promotes local culture and products. We can have an Africa and Nigeria that is self-reliant with regards to evidence-based interventions that promote health, prevent disease, and prolong life. Can MWAN collaborate with NAD for an initiative to promote private medical practice with innovation through promoting savings among senior registrars pending when they become fresh consultants? Yes, we can, and we have. By organizing this webinar, we have taken the first step. Maybe in 6 months' time, we'll find out how many senior registrars who have left have been able to form a good practice, which has a lot of innovation that will make them self-reliant. Because as you know, it's not all the residents that pass out and pass their part 2 that can be retained in their institution where they're trained or be absorbed into a government facility. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Madam MP. As usual, we all felt the Oseji effect. Thank you very much, ma'am. It was interesting to note that the same Grey's Anatomy we all watched. I'm sure everyone here knows Grey's Anatomy. Some of us are still following it till now. We're in like season what? And yet from Grey's Anatomy, man, you have learned a lot and you're applying that. And some of us have not. So as you said, it's all in our imagination. We can imagine in Nigeria where our resident doctors, our present crop of doctors in all spheres would be able to bring about new technologies into medicine. And with that, we would have a change. There will now be brain gain instead of brain drain. A very timely and practical topic. Thank you, ma'am, for traveling out and experience. You didn't just go out to Dubai to shop. You actually went and you saw and you brought back your experiences. Thank you so much, ma'am. We are learning every day from you. So if you have any questions, do we have any questions for Dr. Oseji? We do not have them yet. So please keep in your questions. We're just going to take our next. Okay, Dr. Chima has a question. Dr. Chima, please go ahead and speak.
Okay, thank you so much, Ma, for your presentation. I'm still Dr. Chima Edoga, ARD President. You made a comment. If you don't have an outline or an agenda in a meeting, the meeting is useless. And then if you don't have follow-up, then it's a waste of time. So you mentioned 6 months from now. I would want actually for there to be a real follow-up following this meeting. MWAN and NAT are trying to collaborate, and it will be good if communication is opened, and then we set targets. Some of them low-hanging fruits, some high for floating, so that in 6 months' time, if we are going to have a second round, we would have had some success stories. Because I'm very much interested in some of the ideas that you have brought up. Thank you so much.
Noted.
Thank you, Dr. Chima. Dr. Chima, if you have been following MWAN, particularly since the 2019 biennium began with Dr. Oseji at the helm of affairs, you would note that when it comes to follow-up, she's excellent at it. So in 6 months' time, definitely we would have something, and we hope that we'll have resident doctors who have keyed in from this lecture. So without wasting further time, we're going to have Dr. Kenneth Uwaje on board. Oh, I forgot to share his profile. Okay, so I'm just going to speak about his profile, about who we have. I spoke to Dr. Kenneth Uwaje the first time earlier this week, and he asked me for 10 minutes of my time. In fact, I think he even said 5 minutes. Unfortunately, 5 minutes turned to over an hour because he's someone who has a passion for whatever it is he's doing. And I could not help but listen and ask more questions. And he got me involved into something that I had no intention of even joining in the first place, just because he has a passion and he's able to infect others with his passion. He was the 7th president of ARD, Federal Neuropsychiatric Hospital, Yaba, in 2016, and at the same time, he served as the president of his Rotary Club in Lagos. He's also served as the head of the telebehavioral health at MBI, the biggest behavioral health agency in Washington, D.C., the United States of America. He recently developed a telehealth program for females in a high school in Lagos for his thesis at George Washington University, D.C., where he did his master's in public health. His most recent appointment is as NAD Telehealth Committee Chairman. When he asked how his journey began to where he is right now in telehealth, he says that at the age of 13, he had a dream of people receiving treatment with a computer in a room that was pale white, AC tight, smells of lavender, with a serene and soothing feeling, and the place was a place of healing. He believes that was his God-given vision of telehealth. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Dr. Kenneth Uwaje. Please go ahead, sir. Dr. Kenneth, you can unmute yourself, please.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Evo. Thank you, Madam President, Medical Women's Association, and thanks to all the speakers before me. It is a pleasure to be here, and I'll plunge into my topic, medicine without borders. To all the beautiful ladies in the house, I say Happy Women's Day. This was the International Day of the Woman this week, so thank you all for your limitless service to society. About 12 years ago, there's this young doctor who graduated. And on his way home, he received a call. Hey, Kenneth, what's up now? I'm fine now. My neighbor's son is having a headache and his body is very hot. What do we do? I just graduated today, ma. I'm going to look for internship. Yes, but quickly make a diagnosis. You know that you are now a doctor. By show of hands, how many of us have had that experience? Some would say it's medically unethical to make a diagnosis by just listening to a complaint on the phone. Others would say it's not a big deal. But in my opinion, the biggest crime is delivering this service at the expense of your time without paying for the expense of your time. And that's what I want to tell you about. The merger between telehealth, helping society, but at least helping yourself. For the topic, I'll take you on a journey starting with the introduction, which is basically why we need to do this. Then what is mHealth? How do we practice this? And in conclusion, what action can you and I take? What is the follow-up? So, looking at this image, for those of us in Lagos, this is familiar. You spend 5-6 hours getting to a hospital. Hello, can you hear me?
Please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Very good, thank you. So yeah, you spend about 5-6 hours driving to a hospital in Lagos. You go to the ATM to make payments, and then you wait for your doctor. And sometimes all you get is a request for a laboratory investigation. It's quite frustrating and daunting. So yes, you do provide a service by speaking on the phone, and you deserve to be paid. So let's talk about the future of medicine. There are many modalities. We'll start with hearing. We'll talk about hearing and seeing, and nearly touching. Those are the services that we have at this point in time. mHealth started as early as 1967 with the first phone call, when people would reach out to friends and families, but also doctors for consultation. But the concept of payment seemed alien to people because, after all, it was just a phone call. I once had an experience that I'd like to share to buttress my point next. I was supposed to give a speech at an entity speaking about mental health, and I didn't know how to bill. So I asked one of the co-speakers, "Sir, how much should I bill for this service?" He said, "Sorry, I can't tell you my rates." I was like, "Could you give me a guide of some sort?" And he said to me, "How about does Timi Dakolo bill for 10 minutes of his time singing?" And I was like, whoa, it's a pretty penny. He said, "How long did you study to become a doctor?" I ignored the question. His point was crystal clear. So people take your time on your phone, speak to you, get services. You deserve to be paid. So remove the savior complex and care for yourself. But when it comes to mHealth, it's just talking, right? When you talk about mHealth audio and visual, that's where we have video conferencing, where you have a patient who is somewhere in the confines of their home, the comfort and care of their house. They can see the doctor. You can also observe them. For example, you could observe things like body language. You could observe facial expression and what we refer to as affect in psychiatry. But more importantly, you can see the human being in his or her natural environment, except if they use some screen or background to protect their privacy. But talking about the most recent level of telehealth, we have remote devices where the doctor can see, the doctor can hear, and can nearly touch. with devices such as sphygmomanometers monitoring findings of patients miles and thousands of miles away. Pulse rates can be measured, respiratory rates can be taken, and services can be delivered from distances, beyond boundaries, beyond borders. It's nothing short of a miracle. So what are the benefits of mHealth? The convenience the patients get. They don't have to spend 6 hours in traffic. The comfort of getting care from wherever, whenever. The accessibility to care with the speed of sound. And of course, the cost benefit to the practitioner and to the patient. What are the challenges with telehealth in Nigeria? Yes, 90% of people have mobile phones according to some statistics. As a matter of fact, 88% are assumed to have smartphones. But yet, we know that when it comes to video technology and use of remote devices, we require a little more bandwidth. And about 60% of our bandwidth is between the range of 1.5 to 2.5 gigs. So it's a bit heavy for the services we want to provide. And then the cost of data is still expensive in Nigeria. And you need some expertise and experience to execute most effectively. However, there is a way out, a way in which we can deliver top-notch services to those in distant areas, and at the same time, have the doctor smile to the bank. The solution we have devised is referred to as MWAN in a Million project. This project cares not just for the doctor, but for the patients they care for. And this is important for sustainability because in an aeroplane, they make a statement. If cabin pressure drops, wear a face mask before helping anybody, including children. I know this might sound mean to mothers, but if you're on fire, you can't extinguish somebody else's flame. So taking care of the doctor is as important as taking care of the patient, because the doctor's financial health is inextricably linked to their emotional and physical health. So care for society is care for those who serve society, including the doctors. If you are to save the world, you would need a vault to keep all that money. But let's talk about how we can serve society and serve ourselves. This is a simple chart reflecting the MWAN in a Million flow. It is a culturally competent means of delivering services. These are the steps. The patient calls the health assistant, preferably in the primary healthcare center or a local government institution. This health assistant is able to speak the local language and relate with the patient on a level that makes it more comforting. And we understand that we have over 200 languages in Nigeria, and not all of us from all local governments can speak our local languages. But these health assistants, more often than not, can. They understand the local terms. For example, when I served at Bomodi, the term fever represents headache, toothache, leg ache, eye ache, and raised body temperature. So when they say fever in that context, it's going to mean something entirely different to me. But the health assistant is able to understand this and uses an EMR system, clicks on the relevant symptoms without having to type a word. And with a click of a button, it is transmitted to a doctor who can be anywhere on the face of the earth. It could be in the UK, it could be in Nigeria, it could be in Lagos, it could be in Ibadan. This reduces the concept of brain drain to body drain request. Okay, so this reduces the concept of brain drain to body drain, thereby empowering the doctor to deliver services. So doctors who are abroad, who are licensed to practice in Nigeria, can care for patients, particularly those who are willing to serve society without being paid, because with the exchange rate, payment in Nigeria is not so pretty. This doctor gets all the symptoms, but needs to confirm that they are correct. So with the click of a button, it calls the patient back. He asks questions, confirms the symptoms, makes a diagnosis, and determines a management approach. This management could be referral to a secondary or tertiary center. It could be referral to a pharmacy or a prescription to procure medication. It could also be requests for laboratory investigation, depending on the findings of the doctor. And this solution can be performed within 10 minutes of accessing the service. So it improves access, it improves affordability, it saves time, it saves energy. And we are offering the electronic medical record system, which costs about $150 a month, for free to every doctor who comes to provide service. All we ask of you is this: give 20% of your time to serving society and 80% of your time to use it for your private practice. Part of the electronic medical record system includes your decision to bill at whatever rates you decide for your private patients. All we ask is that you give back to society and we give back to the doctor. This protects us from contracting things like COVID-19 and helps us deliver services as at when due in the best way possible. So magnify your purpose, improve your service to society, empower yourself financially, physically and emotionally, but at the same time serve society. Break the boundaries for medicine's borderless. Emancipate yourself from the confines of guilt for charge, because the Hippocratic Oath is not an oath of poverty, but not just only an oath for posterity, but an oath for prosperity, in my opinion. I look forward to you volunteering with us, and I look forward to answering your questions. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kenneth Uwaje. That was indeed a soothing lecture. we can use that, if I could use that term. We've learned a lot, and I think right now a lot of people. I have 2 hands up already for questions. Can we have? Okay. Should we wait till the end? We're supposed to wait to the end of the presentations before we take our questions. So please, I'm going to ask everyone, let us take our last presentation. We are already almost past time. So we're just going to have Dr. Ifeanyi Kelvin Igbuchelem, another K coming up just before we take all our questions. Please just take note of your questions. I ask everyone to be patient. We'll have time for your questions. So Dr. Ifeanyi Igbuchelem, you have the floor right now. Just to speak about Dr. Ifeanyi before he comes up. Dr. Ifeanyi Igbuchelem is a resident doctor, actually a pediatric surgery trainee in the University College Hospital, Ibadan. He has a Master of Science Surgery degree from the University of Ibadan. He's an associate fellow of the National Postgraduate Medical College of Nigeria and also a member of the West African College of Surgery. He's a recipient of several awards, grants, and scholarships. Lately, he became the recipient of the Smith Surgical Scholarship and Travel Grant Fellow Award on behalf of the Cleveland Clinics, Florida, USA. He believes in advancing best clinical practice for the best of all and surgery, and he has participated in various healthcare missions under the platforms of AM Project, Pro Health, Niger Delta Development Commission, Free Healthcare Programs, and Anioma Medical Professionals Forum as a form of doctor reach out to Nigerians in the hinterland. He has not stopped his career development, and all his activities has brought to fore his inquisitive mind and innovativeness in group private practice. The quote, "The world is a battlefield," corroborates the motto of his alma mater as an undergraduate, knowledge for advancement. And this is apt in human development and bringing out the best in him while affecting his world. He has this quote to say, which Dr. Oseji might not agree with, but he says that may technology not take away the humanity of medicine. Ladies and gentlemen, NMA elders, M1 elders, distinguished colleagues from NARD, I bring to you Dr. Ifeanyi Kelvin Igbuchelem. Please go ahead, Dr. Ife.
Thank you very much, Dr. Evo. And I also want to thank the Medical Women Association of Nigeria and the Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors for giving me this platform to share our experience on behalf of my group. The theme, economic empowerment of young doctors, is apt. But for the purpose of this presentation, I would like to use a term that is well known to NAD, which is early career doctors, which include house officers, registrars, senior registrars, and medical officers below the rank of principal medical officers. I'll be making this short presentation following this outline. And the learning objective will be hinged on trying to give us an exposure to what we've achieved so far, and also let us know the few setbacks we've had. We are not trying to convince us about the concept, because we know dreams and aspirations vary among early career doctors, but this is just to let you know about group medical practice, which is an in thing. The first speaker gave an incline into what medical practice is all about. We know we have both public and private practice, but this presentation will dwell more on private practice and specifically on group medical practice. Private practice is a professional business that is not controlled or paid by the government, whereas private practice can be further divided into sole private practice, which we commonly see in our environment, which some of us refer to as one-man business. Here, the owner of those practices ends up sharing both the risk and the gains all together. And sometimes during the course of their business, when there's a demise, the business usually comes to a close. Or if they have a next of kin that is a medical practitioner, such person takes up the business. Group medical practice, on the other hand, involves 2 or more physicians. In our own case, we have about 5 physicians that came together to form our practice. Here, we provide medical within the same facility, and also we utilize the same personnel. We divide the income, and we also share the risk together. That's basically what group medical practice is all about. Sometimes you may have people coming together in the same specialty. Sometimes you may have multi-specialties, like as we found in our own model, where we have a pediatric surgery trainee, a cardiothoracic surgery trainee, a general surgery trainee, orthopedic and neurosurgery trainee, all coming together to form a group practice. We have other forms of private practice, which will include the large HMOs, health management organizations, wherein hospitals are opened by these HMOs and doctors are employed to render services to the community. Then the intramural medical practice, this has been well expatiated on. And in our hospital, University College Hospital, medical practitioners also practice this system, where they use the private suits for it. And both the management and the practitioners are happy at the end of the day. Why all this talk about private practice? Is because we know that government alone cannot fund hospitals sufficiently to give us the desired care that we need in our environment. And the advantages of group medical practice abound. It includes a built-in support system with lesser risk, because you have 2 or 3 people coming together. The burden of the setup, the risks are shared, unlike in a situation where you have a one-man business where all the risks are shared by that same individual. You do not need as much marketing as a solo practitioner. I'm sure if you go to the website of St. Nicholas Hospital, they don't need to advertise themselves. When you open the website, you see how many knee surgeries, how many transplant surgeries, those data are there. So nobody needs to ask questions before getting his or her relative admitted in such centers, because they've made names for themselves. Sorry, my slide. Then setting out, we conceived this idea 3 years ago after understudying some of the big hospitals in Nigeria, to include Echo hospitals, Redington, St. Nicholas, and some hospitals abroad. And many of us know that Echo Hospital is owned by founded by 3 people. And the hospital was named after their surname, on Dr. Alex Eneli, Dr. Suni Kuku, and then Dr. Amechi Obiora. And this hospital was established in 1982. And up to date, they are still delivering quality healthcare services. Same for Redington Hospital. It has more than 6 members in their board. and St. Nicholas Hospital, also in Lagos. I was founded by late Dr. Moses Adekoya Maje Kodumi of blessed memory, and has both medics and non-medics as members of the board. Why are we giving this history? We must interrogate the system, and we must also try to go from the known to the unknown. So we need to go back to history, find out what these people did to succeed, how they overcame some of the challenges, and we'll pick up from there. So that was why we had to go read some of their histories, make some contacts, interact with them. We did not stop there. We also got some information from how things are done outside the country. As we all know, the highest traffic of medical tourism today in Nigeria is to India. And how did they get to where they are today? It was through group private medical practice. We are not discouraging, or let me say myself, I am not discouraging the drifts abroad by early career doctors who are seeking for greener pastures abroad. But we can just plead and hope that they see reason to give back to our country, Nigeria, after acquiring skills and training. That is the only way we can improve the system. We cannot rely totally on our leaders. They will fail us. Medanta Hospital in India, for example, is famous for cardiac surgery and is the first hospital in India history to perform robotic surgery. We will be celebrating the 21st century joke in Nigeria if we expect robotic surgery to start first in public hospital in Nigeria. For us as a group, I said we're a group of 5 residents, trainees that came together with like minds. We knew ourselves as undergraduates, went to the same medical school. So it was easy for us to blend, as it were. And we developed this business idea and thereafter a business plan. For every business, there's a business plan. It starts with developing a template. This you can get by discussing with other people in the business who might have had one form of template or the other. Then you can compare notes. Then you need to make an executive summary, which involves making a summary of all the plans you have in the business. But this is usually written later after all these have been done. Then the individual practice experiences. Then you write about yourself. That's how most people market themselves. What have you done? How many surgeries have you done? What are your areas of interest? For example, people talk about robotic surgeries now, minimal access surgery, laparoscopic surgeries. So you can state how many of these areas you think you are competent in. Then the objective of the group, which will include the mission and the vision. The mission, the plans, the set goals, and the vision, how you plan to achieve these set goals. Then the business summary, marketing analysis. Who are these clients that you are aiming at? Where are you planning to situate this hospital? Then the strategy, how you plan to get some of these things sorted out. Then implementation, which will involve you trying to monitor. It's like monitoring and evaluation. There must be some key performance indicators that we use to monitor your progress. Then financial plan, how you intend to get funds and how you intend to spend these funds. Then exit strategy. Every business has an exit strategy. Thereafter, a business name was formed. The Surgery Plus Limited company was mooted, and a partnership document was written and jointly signed by all. We started by planning and making commitments of 100,000 naira each. Though it may look small, but it came with a lot of sacrifices. But we have come to say that this is the price we are paying for the future of the well-being of our populace. And up to date, we'll be making that contribution, and it has been sustained. Funding is a big problem in setting up such enterprise. We needed to build a capital base, and we thought through several ways of investing, habits using a low-risk institution, one of which is the money market fund. This is something we tried at the onset of our investments. And we know what money market fund is. It's a form of bond, just like we have treasury bills. But here, the investment is a short-term debit security. Unlike in treasury bills, you have a longer time. In the past, the yield was as high as 12%, but with increasing inflation, it has dropped to about 1.17% per annum. So this discouraged us, and we moved to HALA fund. HALA fund is similar to money market fund, just that it is Sharia compliant. It does not invest in companies dealing on tobaccos, alcohol, firearms, etc. But the rate is fairly okay, about 10.3% per annum. Other ways we try to invest is procuring agricultural produce, like buying kegs of palm oil. We'll buy off season, maybe around March, April, May, where the price may be as low as 5,600 naira per gallon, and sell sometime in the year around November, December, where the price would have doubled or tripled. So these are some of the ways we thought that we could increase our capital base. And we also currently invested in some farming platforms like the Ken Farms and other business platforms. Here, the yield is about 25% of total investment, usually within the minimum of 3 months. Then lastly, land investments with real estate companies. There was no way we would have been saving money in the bank or putting it on fixed deposits. The yield is as high as 1% currently if you are saving money in the bank or you're using fixed deposits. So we needed to invest in real estate companies, lands, bought lands, and we hope with time it will appreciate. But for you to be able to have a land that will appreciate in the future, such land must be secured with what we call deed of assignment or deed of allocation and survey plans. So if you don't have such, that land, the value of that land may not be worth it when you are about to sell it. Then we also thought of other ways of sourcing funds, and we envisaged that there will be a time we need to collaborate with NGOs such as Tony Elumelu Foundation or government through Central Bank of Nigeria and other support systems like Bank of Industry. But the drawback here is that you must have registered your company. So that led us to registration of the company under the Corporate Affairs Commission. And of course, we know that when you register your company, a tax identification number, TIN, will be generated for you. And this will facilitate you getting your tax clearance, which is also necessary for you to bid for any collaboration or investment in the future. So for you to get a registration done under Corporate Affairs Commission, you need to make name reservation, make payments. And here, because also of government policy, it has increased over time. Now they've introduced stamp duty, which is about 0.75% of the total shares of that company. Then you make a company logo. I'm sure if you see to the right of your screen, you see a company logo there. Then notarization of the documents, which is also necessary to be done by a legal practitioner. Then what are our challenges? There's no business without challenges. Funding is a challenge, and this cannot be overemphasized. But we are consoled that little drops of water, as they say, makes a mighty ocean. And we believe that is something that is surmountable going forward and with time. So we've not lost focus. Then the other issue is time management as residents and entrepreneurs. Many of us, all of us actually, are actually practicing in different tertiary institutions. We're not together. So we needed to make time to discuss, at least bi-monthly. We discuss, review our progress, and also make new plans. Then setback in getting our company registered was also an issue. We received queries 5 times before we finally got it right. Then auditing. Currently, we just do self-auditing. We hope with time we'll be able to get auditors to audit our ourselves. Then the need to search for investors with like minds and with similar self-drive. So these are some of the challenges we currently have. Our goals and mission. Well, I would say we need to dream and dream big. Well, we hope in the nearest future we should be able to have such an edifice that you can see on your screen as a hospital that we can proud to be associated with. We must dare to dream and dream big. Every great dream begins with a dreamer. So our mission is to provide an innovative medical and technology-driven care based on pure professionalism and also restoring humanity to medicine. I made a quote earlier, of course, Dr. Voss made a quote earlier on my behalf. I pray every day And my prayer is that may technology not take away the humanity of medicine. There's always a good and a bad part of anything. Quite all right, technology is very good. I mean, in advancing Medicare and all that, but we should not remove totally that humanity, that empathy aspect of care that should be given to patients, just because technology is just there, robots are there to do all the things you want them to do. Our future is here. We plan to partner with guilds of medical directors of Nigeria, because we need people that have gone ahead of us to be able to learn their mistakes and also improve on what they've done. So partnership is very important. Then conferencing and continuous professional development is something that we hold dear to our hearts, because it's a surgery special. I mean, it's a company that we want to focus more on the surgical specialties. So things like minimally invasive surgeries, laparoscopic surgeries, robotic surgery, telemedicine, and all that are things we are hoping to achieve with this company. So continuous professional development is one thing that we hold dear to our hearts. Then building a bench of board directors, legal team, then reviewing our 5-year strategic plan. We had a 5-year strategic plan, which will elapse in 2 years' time. So in 2 years' time, we'll review it and see how far we've gone with it. Then lastly, networking and collaboration. This is very important. Just to thank MWAN, led by Dr. Mini Oseji, who is currently the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Health, Delta State, for giving us this platform to collaborate, and also Dr. Kwaisu Yulawa, the NAT President. We cannot overemphasize collaboration, both local and foreign collaborations. These are needed if we need to advance Medicare. I'll be concluding by making a quotation by 2 great American leaders. Winston Churchill once remarked that the mark of a country's civilization was the way it cared for its prisoners. This was taken up by John F. Kennedy and modified it to assert that the mark of a country's civilization was the way it cared for its pensioners. My colleagues and friends, in this 21st century that is now ravaged by a pandemic, surely the mark of a country's civilization will be hinged on the health workforce and health indices. And I know group private practice is the way to go in achieving universal health for all. Thank you. God bless.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ifeanyi. This has been truly enlightening. Okay, I see hands up already and I see so many questions. I would like to say that when I first heard of this vision last year, I tried to key into it. You know, everybody likes a good thing and I wanted to join in, but I was firmly rejected by Ifeanyi and the 4 other doctors. I'm still not happy, Ife. I'm still not happy, because this is a good thing that in the next 10, 15 years, we're going to be hearing of Surgery Plus Incorporated all over the world. Congratulations to the team. We're proud of you and we look forward to seeing you flourish in the future. So we're going to be taking some of our questions now. If you have a question, please just put your hands up, and then Dr. Nelson Oko. Before I call Dr. Nelson Oko, I'm going to call on Dr. Idris Omede. Sir, you have had some questions. Would you like to go ahead and speak, or should we take your questions on the chat? So Dr. Idris is not speaking. Dr. Nelson Oko, please, your question.
Thank you very much, Dr. Evo. I want to actually thank my brother, my friend, Dr. Kevin, for this wonderful enlightenment. I'm really, really impressed with what they have done so far with their group. It's a big encouragement to all of us to actually strive in that direction. The issue is actually, from what he has pointed out, funding. It's a big challenge. Getting all those funds together can be really, really problematic. And that may be some of the hindrances we face in trying to have this kind of setup. But I'm really, really encouraged. I think those avenues he has listed out could actually be looked into more to see how we could actually get more funding. Then my question actually goes to the presenter on the telehealth. In the flow chart he gave, having a patient calling to the health assistant based on language barriers that, if you know, fever, like where he served, was misinterpreted to include other things. Now, in that flow chart, there was a drive towards him having a medical record, then the doctor coming in to assess the medical record, then now confirming from the patient, whom ab initio, from what he has explained, you are unable to understand. And now, how do you then confirm such information from the patient? I'm a little bit confused. I don't know if he could actually throw more light on it, because going by what he has done, there's a contradiction, because the setup was for you to actually get a clear understanding from the health assistant. Then you now going back to confirm what the health assistant, which you ab initio, not private to understand, has given to you, trying to confirm it will be counterproductive. Then my other issue is that from that going forward, there will be a lot of mishaps in terms of mistreating patients because of that language barrier in that telehealth. I don't know if there are improvements in place for that query I've just raised. Thank you very much.
Okay, Dr. Kenneth Uwaje, are you available so you could get your question?
Yes, I am.
Okay, great. So can you take that down so we can have all the questions and then you answer them together? We have Dr. Chima Edoga. Dr. Chima, could you please ask your question?
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Ifani. I'm very much impressed by your presentation. I actually had a similar idea more than 5 years ago and teamed up with 3 doctors. We actually registered our company, but because of residency and the pressures of time, we were not able to carry on, but it's a dream that we can actually reactivate. I want to ask, what were the real life challenges that you had combining residency? I know that you are a senior registrar with this group medical practice. And the second question I want to ask is, what extent or what level of services do you offer in your practice? And then third, I want to find out your support staff. Did you build the hospital from scratch, or did you rent an apartment? Just want you to throw more light in case maybe 1 or 2 others may actually want to replicate your concept. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Chima, for your question. Before I go on, I could answer on behalf of Dr. Ifeanyi. It's still a work in progress. They have not even started, so I think he will take the others. So Dr. Omozele Uwadia, please, your question.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kenneth and Dr. Ifeanyi and the other speakers. My question is to the previous speaker. I actually put it on the chat, but it seems other chats have covered it or overshadowed it. I had a question. It seemed like the telemedicine is primarily for physicians, where you talk about complaints, examination, maybe with a machine, then diagnosis and treatment. I don't know if it's really applicable to surgeons and if there's a way around it in terms of telemedicine. Is there a way telemedicine surgeons can also use telemedicine in their practice? That was my question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Omo. I'm just going to be taking some questions from the chat right now, so the speakers could take them down and answer all the questions together. So we have some questions from Dr. Idris Omede. Thank you, Madam M1. Dr. Stejima, this question is for you. What's the funding option? Please give me a minute, everyone. I need to mute where the noise is coming from. Okay, great. So we have a question from Dr. Idris. What is the funding option what are the funding options for innovation in healthcare? A major challenge in our climate. What is your take on proposed health bank? Can that fill the gap? We also have another question for Dr. Kenneth Uwaje. Has telehealth thought of the legal implications of prescriptions without physical contact? Dr. Kenneth Uwaje, that is for you. We have another question. We have a prayers and comments for Dr. Ife. From Dr. Habib Ogundibe. Can we expand insurance to cater for the associated increased costs for the populace as the other fulcrum for improving health indices in Nigeria? We have a question from Dr. Emmanuel Umba. Can NAD or MWAN champion the campaign of group hospitals? I think that should go to our national president, Dr. Oseji. We have another question. Are you still planning to expand your members to accommodate others who may be interested in your dream? Dr. Ifeanyi, you must answer this one. Are you still planning to expand your members to accommodate others who may be interested in your dream? Dr. Sandra Okoli asks, how do you handle quarrels or misunderstandings that may arise among the owners in a group private practice? Dr. From Huawei 2019 to Dr. Oseji, why should we pursue international accreditation where most health facilities cannot even boast of national accreditation? Will it not amount to putting the cart before the horse?
Yes.
And then Dr. Okoli Kenneth, please, are the five doctors from different tertiary practices in one place? Are the five doctors from I don't understand.
The organization is women, but everybody is permitted.
Dr. Okoli Kenneth, could you please rewrite your question? From Dr. Adora, Dr. Kenneth, who and what determines the cost of payment via telemedicine, and how does this work? So to our speakers, let's start with Dr. Kenneth Uwaje.
Lecture on options for making.
Dr. Kenneth Uwaje, please go ahead.
Dr. Ekmo, can I? Okay.
Okay, ma. Yes, ma. Sorry, ma. Please go ahead with it. Go ahead, ma. Answer the questions directly to you.
I'm trying to multitask, so I will just say the ones that I can remember. I remember you talked about Dr. Idris Obede asking about funding options, and you talked about the bank. They are all,
yes.
The bank is
you have three questions, ma. Funding options,
let me start
the health bank, and can MWAN or NAD champion group medical practice?
Okay, and there was the other one about accreditation.
Yes, international accreditation, okay, yes, before national. Yes.
Dr. Idris, thank you for that question. Now, the issue is there are many funding options. What Dr. Ifeanyi has presented is a funding option where every month they contribute 100,000. That is something that is commendable. And I would encourage anybody to do that. The loan facilities are there. I have taken loans before, but I chose later on that my future investments, I wouldn't get any loan. I will find a way to save, cut down my expenditure and save, and use that money and save the length of time I would have used to pay. Most of the loans that you take, you have to use 2 years to pay. So by the time you look at that, you say, instead of taking that loan and spending 2 years to pay, why don't you save for 2 years and then you don't have the interest? So for me, that is the best option. If you have a good income and you know how to manage your funds, you are able to do your savings and you can be disciplined, to me, that is the best option so that you don't have the nightmare of the issue of loan. Then the issue of banks, the health bank is okay. I know that for most of the investments and loan facilities for health, we've been talking about single-digit interest. I do not know whether the health bank, whether there's going to be single-digit interest. If that is fine and it's acceptable to those who want to take the loans, that is okay. So I support it and I believe it's a good option. There are so many other funding options. You know, you can make an investment, you have land, you keep it, it appreciates, you sell it off, you get that money. So you do other things to generate fund and then you get it. So whichever one that you can do legitimately that will give you peace of mind, will not put you under pressure, I think that is the best option for you because we don't all have the same temperaments and so on and so forth. Then for the issue of what can MWAN or NAD do, we have started. It all starts from today. The question now for us to step it down, I want to believe that we are more than 178 in MWAN and NAD. So if we step down this particular thing, in our meetings, we talk about it, we encourage, we actually go to those who have passed their part 1. Between the time you pass your part 1 and when you pass your part 2, particularly if you're in a sponsored residency training, you can save a lot of money and use that money to consider doing something that will be worth your while. Then the other thing is maybe we will need to do, let's say, a regular review like MWAN now, every second Saturday. We do not only the economic empowerment, but we do monitoring and evaluation of health programs. So once we are done with this program, I'm going to give a brief presentation. It's not going to be as robust as the previous ones we did for January and February, but just an update to let us know where we are and to talk about the beauty of supportive supervision. So what I'm trying to say is that it all depends on us. Like, I'm very proud of the MWAN and the NAD collaboration, because we started in September. We're actually supposed to collaborate on the issue of research. And we've actually submitted a proposal for ethical approval. Somehow, because everybody has been so busy, we've not been able to finalize that, but it's still in the works. However, this economic empowerment of young doctors has even overtaken that, because we started discussing that, I think that was in January, when we had the the planning your future for our young doctors. And that was when I said, can MWAN and NAD collaborate? And that was January 21st. Today is 13th of March. So it's not even up to 2 months. So I think working with the younger people is easier for some of us older people, because my own generation, they are kind of slower. I will talk and talk and talk and talk, and it's forever, 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, we are still saying, we're still in the same point. But somehow collaborating with NAD, we are getting the results faster. And even when I gave my presentation on M&E last month, most of the things that we wanted to do research-wise, it was the young doctors that had implemented it. So I think we are really on the right track and we are good to go. And well, M1 has started. I want to believe that NAD too will follow at the same pace and we will get to where we want. Just like he said, we should be following up the action points. The action points are very clear. How many people are about leaving the residency program? Do you have anything saved, or are you just praying and fasting and believing God and lobbying that your institution will retain you? It is good to do that, but you also know that it's not all prayers that are answered the way we want. You understand? God may say yes, God may say no, or God may say wait. So the issue is that you don't know the answer to the prayer, but it doesn't stop you from praying. But just have a backup plan. You're able to get this other one sorted out. So the final thing is the issue of why are we doing foreign accreditation? Now, I talked about the JCI accreditation, which is a foreign one. The Nigerian one just got institutionalized. So what we're doing now is that I'm so happy because of my interest in quality assurance and working with a mentor that is well renowned. I have been appointed as a member of the Nigerian Quality Assurance Group. And by God's grace, on Monday, we're going to have a meeting and I'm going to be that with my first meeting. So we are having all these plans to get the Nigerian component sorted out. But the issue is that there are actually 4 different types. I couldn't go into so many details. There's a South African type, there's a Safeway. I'm not too sure where the Safeway is of which type, whether it's foreign or there's the ISQA. There's that's the one for Nigeria, is related to ISQA, and then there's the JCI. So it's almost the same thing. You just start with whichever one. You can apply for as many and then see the one that you finally get through. But the most important thing is, even if you don't get accredited, the plan for accreditation is going to improve the quality of service. And that alone is going to give our patients better care. So thank you. I will have to kind of excuse myself for now because River State is calling me for their own program. So Dr. Evo, just carry on. Once you're done, let me know so that I give the M&E presentation. It's going to be very brief. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Madam National President. We appreciate you as always. Your vision, your energy is boundless. God bless you, ma. So Dr. Kenneth Waje, could you please go ahead with the questions for you?
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Abel. It's been great having you moderate. I'd like to start by saying thank you to all the current volunteers. Within 15 minutes, we've gotten nearly 50 people volunteering to work with the MWAN in the MWAN project. So
Awesome.
This is amazing. This is a really, really action-oriented group. Thank you very much. But I would also like to thank Dr. Nelson for his didactic questions. It shows that he's the man who visualizes things. He looked at it from his own perspective, and I appreciate the experience he generated. Like I said, when I served at Bomadi, fever meant a billion things, right? But having a health assistant there kind of serves as a sieve to move a lot of the confusing and conflicting information. But maybe I'm not trusting enough. I will make a diagnosis based on symptoms collated only by a health assistant. So I would have the health assistant help me collate information, sieve through what he or she can, and present it in the language that I can understand. But I would want verification before I make my diagnosis, determine my treatment, and disposition of the patients. That is why it's a two-step approach. But it does save a lot of time. And it's actually very important in this context because we're providing a free service. And we're going to ask doctors like you and I to volunteer their time. I don't want you spending 30 minutes on one patient because the patient starts off the consultation with telling you it is well. Madam, what's wrong with you? It is well. I have had no less than 50 patients tell me it is well as the presenting complaint. But with the health assistant who tells them how well it is first, before the information gets to me, it saved time. So within 10 minutes, I am done with the consultation at the primary care level. And then I can refer for more extensive investigations or treatment as the case may be. But it is a free service, so we want to be realistic and practical and establish a balance between delivering service to some and a utilitarian perspective so I can get across to many. Our goal is 1 million Nigerians who are not paying for this service. We want our doctors to deliver the services with the best quality they can and with the least time they can. So thank you very much for that question. I'll move to the next question by Dr. Wadaya or Dr. Mozele.
Dr. Kenneth, please, before you take Dr. Wadia's question, someone asked, how would you fund these services? Because you said your goal, your last statement was your goal is 1 million Nigerians who are not paying for it. So how would they be funded?
How would we be funded, or who are they?
How would you be funded? How would doctors get income from this service?
Okay, the doctors are going to get the electronic medical record system, and it would basically belong to each and every one of these doctors to do with it whatever they want. And all we ask is 20% of your time used for our free patients and 80% of the time used to generate your own income. It's a means of stimulating your entrepreneurial inclination by providing you with everything that gives you the opportunity to use your service. So there will be a pool of patients who will convert from the public to the private setting, and therefore you can provide services for them. And for those of us who already have private patients, we can also use that as a means of connecting with our private patients. So the service in essence is free to the patients, and the doctors have the free software to use as they so desire. It costs $150 to us, but for the doctors, it will cost nothing just to serve society. And you can actually choose which local government you want to serve. So I'm thinking about it from, I'm a human being, so I have political inclinations, for example. I would certainly provide local services to my local government so that when next I want to get a chieftaincy title, the chief of the village would view me favorably. Okay, I'm kidding, but there are some intrinsic benefits that are certainly cash-based and beyond cash. So pretty much. And then for more details about things like stipends, we don't call them payments. We could talk more about it amongst those in the 1 in a million committee. But yes, how do we fund it? We're going to fund it by collaborations. For example, George Washington University is with us on this, and stuff like that is a magnet for international funding because it's a university, it's an institution. We are also in collaboration with Shell, Petroleum Nigeria. We also have collaborations with some professors from universities across the world who tend to generate a lot of funding. But the point is, we're not pushing funding in your faces because the goal is for you to deliver a service from a humanitarian perspective, and at the same time, build your entrepreneurial skills, and then eventually, everybody smiles to the bank, patient and doctor. So is that satisfactorily answered?
Yes, please. Please go ahead with the other questions.
All right, thank you very much. So Dr. Omazele, telehealth application for surgeons. Yes, it applies to both surgeons and non-surgeons, but at what level of care? Surgeons are, in my opinion, physical medicine. You're going to have to cut people. And for now, telehealth services, as best I know within Nigerian context, does not have that. There are talks about things like robotics, distant robotics, that they can operate surgically on patients from a distance, but I wouldn't do that yet. What I would do with the surgical aspect in terms of pre-surgical interventions, post-surgical monitoring, we can do with remote digital devices. Before surgery, we can assess electrolyte, urea, creatinine, blood glucose, and the other parameters, because surgeons are also physicians. So the non-operative components can be monitored using telehealth. And then the inpatient stay can be reduced using telehealth. So those are the facilities we can at this point in time do. But there's also something called video conference surgery, which was done by Johns Hopkins University with an institution in Nigeria, where surgeons in Johns Hopkins here in Maryland were directing surgeons back in the country. That was the collaboration for what they refer to as a high-profile surgery. So it does exist, video conferencing, pre-op care, post-op care, but the machines will never take medicine away from us. So to the telehealth legal implications, I'm sorry, I didn't get the name of the person who asked, but thank you for the question. That's pertinent. The telehealth laws in Nigeria are still unsettled. And there's a statement that where there's no law, there's no crime. But of course, we have our morals and our ethics to guide us. But it's still being in evolution. It's still in evolution, rather. And we have a collaboration with the entity creating the telehealth laws for Nigeria. We have a manuscript they have shared with us, but it is still being developed. So for now, it's relatively safe. And I think it boils down to morals and ethics. For Dr. Adora's question, who determines the cost of care? The doctor or the owner of the practice determines the cost of care. But what I would say from my perspective, the structure of care also determines how much it would cost. One, how many personnel are you putting on your profile? What is the cost of the electronic medical record system you have chosen to use? What type of system are you operating? Are you an individual practitioner? Are you a group? But something else that the EMR can do for you is that the electronic medical record system also has a billing component that can receive funds on your behalf through a safe portal. You could also collaborate with insurance companies to deliver these services and get paid by them. So there are a myriad of ways you can get paid. At the end of the day, it boils down to the doctor. It also depends on some variables like your level of expertise, your years of experience, your ability to communicate effectively, because it's business at the end of the day and packaging counts. So I know doctors who would see private patients, for psychiatrists particularly, for 10,000 naira. And I also know a doctor who doesn't see any patient for less than 350,000. And they went to the same residency. I know both of them. At the end of the day, your packaging, your ability to communicate, and the outcome of your treatment. And then, of course, you need to build yourself so that your profile smiles and then your services speak for themselves. Thank you very much. I hope I've addressed all your questions, and further questions can be referred later. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kenneth. Before we go ahead to Dr. Ifeanyi, I know a lot of us have questions for him. We just want to acknowledge the presence of one of the persons who made this possible. He's like a father to me. I've known him for over 17 years, if not about 20 years now. He's the one and only president of the Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors, the vibrant, ever energetic, once known as Uyi Spaghetti, Dr. Uyi Lawal. Welcome, sir. You're welcome, sir. So we have a question for you. We have a
Okay,
question for you,
anytime.
sir.
Anytime,
Yes,
please.
because someone asked about that we're talking about economic empowerment of young doctors, and yet the salaries of house officers are being decreased right now. So please just hold on, sir. We want you to answer that question for us. So Dr. Ifeanyi Egbuchele, please go ahead while Dr. Uyi prepares a vibrant response to that question.
I'd like to respond now.
Okay, please go ahead, sir.
For the MTCN Act, the criteria for giving accreditations to hospitals demands that you give them houses in the hospitals. And
yes,
using that act means they make deductions for housing. As it stands, the money paid to them, 15,000 naira was deducted from all house officers. And with taxation, which puts the money back to about 204. So that is the answer to your question. So what we need to do is that they need to write, which we have already written to MDCN, telling them that it's not all house officers that are housed in the institutions as we speak. That tends to bring a worry, because if they are not housed, that means the criteria by the MDCN for having house officers is already in question, because you must have houses for everybody. Since you don't have houses for everybody, means something is going to go wrong with your quota allocations that is sent to each hospital. So that's where we are now.
Thank you so much, Dr.
And we have written to them already. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. So Dr. Benjamin, I hope your question has been answered, and you can see that our medical elders and the government are not trying to prevent young doctors from rising economically. However, webinars such as this, MWAN and NAD, are trying to ensure that all young doctors rise. Dr. Ifeanyi Egbuchele, please go ahead with your answers to the questions directed at you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Evo. Someone asked about how do we handle quarrels. And I said earlier when we were setting out that we were together as undergraduates, we knew ourselves. And I'm sure many of us in med school who had tutorial groups. And usually when you are getting to know yourself in tutorial groups, there are people that you can easily flow with. You're not going to associate with yourself with somebody you're going to be having troubles with all the time. So we actually knew ourselves all through medical school. And it was easy for us to identify ourselves, the five of us. So since we started, we've not had cause to have troubles, not had cause to have quarrels. Going forward, someone asked about if we intend to expand our group and incorporate other people. Well, for now, we've not considered that. But what we intend to do is when the time or when we are ready to get the board on, then we'll be able to entertain more people into the company. And someone asked about increasing insurance to expand and cater for the populace, especially with the poor health indices. Yes, when you have group medical practice, it doesn't preclude having an insurance company covering those hospitals. Most big private hospitals in the country, as we speak, still have retainership, still have insurance company, having to come in to cater for the needs of patients. So, but the question should be, is how to achieve universal coverage of the NHIS. Is when that is done that we can benefit maximally from this group medical practice. Then someone asked about the real life challenges with practice. Well, we've not really started, as it were. We don't have a hospital yet. All these are plans and all these are things we've done. And that was why we just brought it to our notice, the little gains we've made and the shortcomings we've had so far. We have a 5-year strategic plan. I said we just started 3 years ago. By 2 years' time, we'll review that and probably plan to kick off in earnest. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ife. I'm glad to know that you have plans to put some of us who are interested on your board of directors. Thank you so much. Dr. Abimbola Okpadeyi, she's our South-South Clinical Pharmacovigilance Director. Ma, please, you have 1 minute to speak. Hello, Ma. Okay, so if we look through the chat, we've had Dr. Abimbola speaking to us about an app where we can report all adverse drug reactions using the Med Safety app. It can be downloaded from Google Play Store or the iOS App Store. So it ensures that your reports are sent in a timely manner to the National Pharmacovigilance Center, domiciled in NAFDAC, Abuja, for onward transmission to WHO. It can also be used to related adverse events. So please, for all doctors here, he gave the website so we could download the app and easily report every adverse event we encounter every adverse drug event we encounter in our practice. So it has been a wonderful time. It has been a very enlightening time for morning 12. And I'm sure each and every one of us something we have, so especially for the younger ones, those who are just post part 1, you have a plan. For those of us who are planning to leave the country, or japa, as we say, you know that there are plans to come back in Nigeria and you can plan to come back to Nigeria and make even more money from Nigeria and give back to your community at it. The president once again, Dr. Uila, well, thank you so much, everyone, for this time you have spent with MWAN and NAD. It has been wonderful having you all here. We've had over 180 persons on this webinar, and that is a good one. I remain your moderator, Dr. Evo Esievoraje. Dr. Ilawa, please, please, sir, we'd like closing remarks from you.
Thank you very much. It's an honor to say I've enjoyed this past few hours with MWAN, and I must commend the National President of MWAN Women Association of Nigeria. She's a mother and she has enlightened us in so many ways, and we are richly blessed. I want to encourage all resident doctors that there are better ways of advancing and making ourselves some extra money. And with the keynote first speaker, who gave us a lot of talk on how we can be able to go for greater heights in the health sector, I say a very, very big thank you to them. The 1 million Nigeria telehealth program is a program that I have so dearly in me. And thank you to Dr. Waje for giving us an elaborate talk and showing us the direction of how we can get things better and be able to get our patients better care and be able to save some money in our pockets. For the last speaker, he has been a friend. If I have known him for quite some time, over 17 years also. And that global health practice you are doing, I want to key in also. I know Yvonne is smiling now. And also, I want to tell most people here that NAD is also embarking on a housing project that commenced in Oka some few days back. And those are ways you can be able to save money instead of paying more for your rent. You can go into some mortgage banks and get your 50 million that you are entitled to. Those are ways we can encourage doctors to stay in Nigeria. Those are ways we can encourage us to go do better heights. So on behalf of myself, Dr. Uhilawa Huaisi, I want to say a big thank you for joining this program. And Rivon, you have been a very good host. I say thank you also. And to the MWAN National President, it's an honor working with you. And I look forward to working more with you. Thank you from our own end. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. We appreciate your leadership. We appreciate your collaboration. This is the first ever MWAN NAD collaboration, and it's happening under your leadership. We appreciate it, Dr. Ilawa. Thank you. You have been a father, you have been a friend, and I think it's more than 17 years. I think it's like maybe
25, actually.
So thank you so much. I don't even want to call names to call you back in school. All
thank
right,
you
then.
Very much.
So thank you, everyone. We're just going to take our closing prayers. Dr. Bilkis, past NAD Secretary General, could you please take us in closing prayers, Dr. Bilkis? Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for being here. We have our NMA elders, starting from Dr. Omede Idris. We have our NARD elders. We have past NAD elders. We have present NAD elders. We have colleagues from NAD. We have M1 elders here. We have M1 colleagues. Thank you so much. It has been an honor having you here. God bless you so much for your time. Thank you so, so much. Dr. Bilkis Mohammed, please closing prayers.
My president, the M1 president and the NAT president, distinguished medical elders present, my noble colleagues, may we have a closing prayer in our individual faith for 1 minute. Amen. Thank you very much, moderator and my coordinator, YDF, Dr. Ivo. Thank you, everyone who attended this program. It's been quite enriching and much appreciation to all the speakers.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bilkis. Thank you for taking the closing prayers. God bless you. Amen to all our prayers. Let us all remember we can get the telephone number of our first speaker, Dr. Isaac Akpoveta. It's in the WhatsApp group and WhatsApp chat, the Zoom chat right now. I'll see if I can post it for those who just joined us.
Dr. Evo, remember that we have the M&E, presentation coming up shortly after. So please, you help me share that slide. Yes.
Yes. And so please let us all, we don't have to, Ma, are we having it immediately now?
Yes, immediately. It's just 14 slides.
Okay. No, I want to see if people should stay, if we can tell people to stay online. Please, you don't.
It's optional.
Yes, please. So you can stay on, please, and learn how we do it in M1, how we monitor our programs, how we ensure that our programs are evaluated, how we ensure that we're doing the right thing. So please, we're enjoying you to stay on and learn with us. Thank you so much, everyone, for your time. God bless you all.
Okay, so while you are sharing the slide, I'll just carry on.
Okay, ma.
All right. So we've been having our monthly M&E monitoring and evaluation of health programs. And the one for March, the outline is very brief. We'll talk about the adopted health facilities, sustainability of M1 projects, and we conclude. For those of you who have been following, you will remember that M1 adopted health facilities at the beginning of the 2019-2021 biennium. States were asked to select a health facility to be adopted. Letters and plaques were given out to each intending state. And at the ABIA NEC meeting, 10 states collected plaques, but by March 2020, only 5 states had started, and the number increased to 7 in May 2020 and 8 in July 2020. Then the participating states were Kaduna, Delta, Oyo, Kwara, Cross River, Benue, Niger, and Zamfara. Now we have 6 more states: Akwa Ibom, Sokoto, Rivers, Imo, Lagos, and Kebbi. Now we have been sharing the data, but we don't have the data on this presentation, the updated data. We'll hopefully have that in the next presentation for April. But there is a very important outcome which we would like to share. In February, we indicated that during a supervisory visit to one of the adopted health facilities by the national president on the 11th of February 2021, we ran into a baby with cleft palate/lip that was seen in the facility. Now she was linked to the SMILE train through the National Publicity Secretary, Dr. Omoagoja Vivian, and they provide free surgery. She has paid a visit to Dr. Vivian, who assessed her and said they have to postpone the surgery because she's small, the child is small for dates and needs to have the nutrition improved. So she provided some support, and then we went ahead to also provide formula for the child, and that's the photograph on the formula
as well as first we gave it to the nurse when she came to Asaba, and the nurse handed it over to the mother of the baby. So I hope you are putting up the right presentation. Dr. Evo, the one I sent to you.
Yes, this was
no.
This was what Dr. Akbanle sent to me, ma.
That's not what I sent to you. It's what I sent to you that you should put up. So check what I sent to you. So basically, that is what we have had for that child. The child is doing well, and we're hoping that the child's nutrition will improve so that they can have the cleft palate surgery. So the import of that is that a lot is going on in our communities. That child was taken to one of our tertiary facilities and was going to pay 250,000. And I just wondered where the family was going to get that fund from. But hopefully they'll be able to have the surgery with next to nothing, and the story will end in praise. The other situation was what we had in Zamfara State. Since January, we've raised alarm about Zamfara State that we are they are having a high number of neonatal cases of neonatal tetanus. And we have been trying to find out how to get chlorhexidine, which they would use for cord care. And we're happy to say that it was actually on the 8th of March when we're celebrating International Women's Day that the chlorhexidine arrived and was handed over to the facility where they saw the large number of cases of neonatal tetanus. And it was handed over by the Zamfara State President on behalf of the MWAN National Secretariat. Now they're going to send this chlorhexidine gel to those LGAs where they have large numbers of cases coming, so that they can be reoriented on the use of chlorhexidine for cord care and actually have the chlorhexidine available. This is also another outcome of our supportive supervision. And the same facility where we had the cleft palate, they also had the fetal Doppler. That fetal Doppler machine was donated during the previous tenure. And we've been following up because it's one of the things we request them to submit data on. And there was, in November, they said they cannot give us data because the battery was no longer working. And what we now did was to start looking for the battery. I asked for a photograph of the battery, asked people if they know where I can get this battery. But it took me just not until a few days ago. I said, this battery is AA battery. Is that not the usual battery? Must it be that particular brand? So I just gave the nurse AA batteries, and she told me the device is now working. But it took us 4 months from the time when she reported that the battery was not working to the time she actually got batteries. So I'm just trying to say that without supportive supervision, we would not know what the challenges are in our various health facilities. So a mechanism to ensure that we do supportive supervision in every facility at every level is crucial to improving the healthcare. Then concerning sustainability of MWAN projects, our sustainability strategy is capacity building of state branches, a smooth and peaceful transition to the next executive, development and implementation of the second MWAN strategic plan, as well as publication in peer-reviewed journals like JM1. Last month, we talked about the YDF, those who had submitted articles, those who had published articles, those who had applied for grants, and those who had gotten grant awards. I'm very happy to say that even though I'm not a YDF member, but just a couple of days ago, one of our collaborative research was published and my name was included because of my contribution, patterns of clinical presentation of COVID-19 patients in Federal Medical Center, Asaba, Nigeria. Aboikade, Ore, Ofili, Oseji, Osiatuma, Ezunu, Caleb, and Peter Enye. So I too have a publication and it is on COVID. I have been promoting research on COVID through various fora, and I'm happy that one of them has yielded results. So in conclusion, in order to improve the health indices of African nations like Nigeria, we must institute an efficient monitoring and evaluation system that involves all players in the health sector using objectively verifiable indicators. Secondly, we must identify health workers who are doing well and motivate them financially and otherwise. For MWAN, we motivate our members who are doing well in various ways. We nominate them for projects if there is need. We give them awards. We mention them in various fora, like we have mentioned these young doctors, and so on and so forth. And we have noticed that it is motivating others who want to be receiving that kind of accolade to also contribute and do more. Thirdly, we must identify health workers who persist in doing badly and sanction them appropriately. This virtual meeting on monitoring and evaluation of health programs will be held every second Saturday of the month and all through September. So please save the dates. At the same time, we'll be doing the economic empowerment of women in health, and we may consider extending to other people who are not medical women, just like we have done to the NAD members. Through this exercise, the National Secretariat of the 2019 to 2021 biennium, domiciled in Asaba Delta State, hopes to finish strong by September 2021 when he hand over the baton to MWAN Oyo State. Thank you for your attention. Dr. Akpoveta, I'm done. You can just flip through the slides so that people will see the pictures that I was referring to. But I'm done with the presentation. I told you it was going to be very brief.
I thought we were just talking over it. I didn't know. Oh, goodness. I thought you had something else and I had it open ever since. Please, can we see? Oh, my word. I'm so sorry, everyone. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. So please, so this is what, okay. So let me start from the beginning.
Thank you. So are there any questions? I don't know if there are any questions for our M&E. Yeah, all right. Somebody has just made a comment and said that what you cannot manage, you cannot measure. Or is it what you cannot measure, you cannot manage? Great presentation and evaluation is the panacea. So the take home is, am I measuring? Somebody talked about self-auditing. Anywhere you are, you must audit yourself, no matter. Don't say that until you become a commissioner or a permanent secretary or president of NMA. At every level, it is expected that you should be able to measure and say, am I doing better or am I doing worse or am I just maintaining the status quo? It has to be inbuilt. And I can give you myriad of examples. Recently, because I'm on the board of the Contributory Health Commission in Delta State, I had to go around 34 health facilities. And it was an eye-opener, And when you get reports of monitoring and evaluation, you need to scrutinize them. Don't dump them somewhere. You have to take pains. It's not a palatable experience, but it is needful. I was looking at a monitoring and evaluation report, and I found out that one of our hospitals, they said that the X-ray machine is not working for 3 years. So I sent a message to the ZMD, what is happening? And he said he will find out from the radiographer. And the radiographer said that is how he met it. 3 years is not working. I said, okay, find out what is wrong. They said they were going to look for what is wrong, called an electrician. And within 48 hours, with their internally generated revenue, that X-ray machine started working. So when we complain and we say, call governors, we call the presidents, we call commissioners, a lot of it is what we can do for ourselves. And if that is one thing we leave behind as our legacy in M1, by the time we are leaving the scene, that instead of us complaining on WhatsApp over all the ills in the health sector, we now ask ourselves, what can I do to make it better? I know that we have helped to sustain improvement in the health sector. So I believe we can close the meeting now. Dr. Evo, if there's nothing else to say. Thank you, 82 people who have stayed behind to listen to this last bit of our presentation and program today. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for your time. Madam National President, MWAN mentioned the JM1. Let us remember we have the Journal of the Medical Women's Association of Nigeria, and it is a peer-reviewed journal. You can publish your articles, your manuscript, your case reports there. So please send your case report to us. Our email address is m1journal@gmail.com. We have a website. We're linked with international publishers, Waters Cloa. So you can go to our, I'm just going to put in our website right now. Go on there and sign up as an author with the Medical Women's International Association of Nigeria Journal. So that is our website. So go on there, review.jow.medno.com. Please go on there, sign up as an author, send us your articles, send us your manuscripts, send us your case reports. We'll be glad to have them, have it thoroughly reviewed and then published. Thank you so much once again, NARD. Thank you. We have our NAD elders, NMA elders, M1 members. Thank you so much, our dynamic M1 National President, Dr. Oseji. This is only possible because of your vision for M1 and your vision for health and doctors in general. God bless you, ma. So we're bringing this meeting to a close. This has been almost 3 hours of learning. It has been an enlightening 3 hours. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. God bless you.
Thank you, Evo. Have a nice day. Bye.
You too. But we didn't take pictures today.
Well, you can go ahead.
Anyone, please put on your cameras. Please put on your cameras, everyone. Please put on your cameras. We cannot forget something so important.
Good afternoon, madam.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Evo.
Let's see your faces. Let's see your faces, please. Put on your, oh, Dr. Uyi has left, unfortunately.
Good afternoon, my president.
Oh,
Madam MP, ma, well done.
Good to see you.
Thank
As
you.
you are talking, please just
Well done.
smile, just smile.
Well
Dr.
done.
Kenneth Owaje, you have an unanswered question. You know, we had some people inquiring about your marital status. You did not tell us that. Dr. Kenneth Owaje, you have to enlighten us.
I didn't see it in the chat.
No, it came even before the webinar. Don't worry. Enlighten us. We have people inquiring about your marriage. We just want to know. Just so
okay, we'll set up a committee to look into that. We are in Nigeria. We have to set up a committee.
We have to set up a committee and give them terms of references. Everyone, please just put on your camera and smile. I'm taking pictures as we're speaking. Please put on your camera and smile. Put on your camera and smile. I'm taking pictures. Please just smile. Anyway, I can gladly tell everyone that one of our speakers today, Dr. Ifeanyi Kelvin Ekbuchudem, he doesn't need a committee. I can tell us all that he's available. So for our NIMSA people who are here, for such a young man with a vision, he does not only have a television, he also has a vision. So he's someone who we can pray and fast for. If you want his contact, he's in University College Hospital, Ibadan. Just go to the Department of Surgery and ask for him, and pray. Please pray very well. Thank you so much. We have people, we have some members of Dr. Ifeanyi's visionary, Dr. Henry Omo, the 5-man team who are getting ready to take over Surgery Plus in Nigeria. We have Dr. Henry Omo here. We have Dr. Terry. We're so glad to have you here. Thank you for teaching us the way to go. Thank you so much, our M1 elders, Dr. Chika. Thank you so much, ma. Dr. Onye Anyanwu, our M1 president. Thank you so much, ma, for being here. Thank you to Dr. Dele Abdullahi for being here. Thank you, Dr. Boboye Ifyobe for being here. God bless you, ma. Thank you, Dr. Fekemi Makinde. Thank you, Dr. Wadia, Dr. Ibrahim. Thank you so much, Dr. Aisha Abdul, Dr. Ibiyemi. Thank you so much, Dr. Alithia Atsusu. That's a beautiful name. Thank you. Dr. Idote, thank you, ma. Dr. Onyi, thank you. Dr. Alice Ramiu, our amiable national president-elect, the one who's taking the seat of M1 to Oyo State and is ensuring that M1 will continue strong. Dr. Adekemi Otolori, thank you so much, ma, for being here.
Thank you very much. We are preparing for you. God being on our side. Thank you.
Ma, we are ready. We're getting ready for September, ma.
Thank you. Thank you.
Dr. Abubakar, thank you. Dr. Rukaya, thank you so much. Our M1 liaison, our NIMSA liaison to M1. She's a dynamic person who we're all watching out for even for her tenure now and even in the future in M1, NAD, NMA. We know you do great things. Dr. Rukaya, thank you for being here. Dr. Onadiron, thank you. Dr. Tola, Dr. Elizabeth, Dr. Nihin Lolawa, Dr. Oni Oluwatomi, Dr. Raleigh Atakirele, Dr. Abimbola Opadeyi, thank you, ma. Our amiable National Internal Auditor, one and only Dr. Onyi Owawambuzo. Thank you, ma, for being here. Dr. Guride, thank you. Dr. Mildred Wamaka Okowa, thank you. Dr. Christabel Ochi, Dr. Chinchelum, thank you. Dr. Kudirat Jimo, Dr. Taiwo, Dr. Dora, thank you. Dr. Oluwatoyi, Dr. Esther, Dr. Venn, Dr. Adetsumi Lara, thank you. Our only Dr. Bilkis Mohammed, our M1 Amazon, God bless you. Dr. Margaret Afam, our sweet ophthalmologist, God bless you. Dr. Oluwayemisi, Dr. Hamida, Dr. Abdul, Dr. Tunde, thank you, ma. Dr. Drs. Ifeanyi Anichi, Dr. Ayotunde, Dr. Salihu, thank you so much for being here. I hope I've not left anyone out. We appreciate your time this Saturday morning. We know that Saturday is for Owambe, but you took your time to be here with us. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Oyi.
Thank you. Thank
everyone.
you.
Thank you, Dr. Otsuru Sovereign. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. Dr. Ibeyemi Oduyemi, thank you. Thank you so much for being here. Dr. Noye Duke, thank you. God bless you, moms. We hope to see you again this time next month, second Saturday of every month. Please join us in M1. We have so much to teach everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you, Nad. Thank you, NMA. Thank you, Dr. Dile Abdullahi. God bless you. God bless you. To Techno Camon, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, everyone. So we're ending this meeting now so we can go about with our Saturday and join the Owambes for those that are still going to Owambes.
Yes,
God bless you. Yes. Dr. Turu Sovereign, thank you so much. Thank you. Dr. Tanimola Akonde, thank you, sir. Thank you for being here, sir. Thank you, sir. Y9 Chindo, thank you, thank you. Thank you for being here. Dr. Turu, you just asked what is the purpose of the number. Are you still here?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so the number is for Dr. Isaac Akpoveta. He was our first speaker. Unfortunately, he had to leave almost immediately after his presentation. He gave us his lecture was so enlightening about several ways to create, to invest and have a medical businesses in Nigeria. Hopefully we'll get the recording and the slides. So he was kind enough to give us his number. So if you need to reach out to him to ask further questions about investing in PPP in Delta State or wherever you are, you can reach out to him via WhatsApp. So that's why his number is there. His number and then website, so you can get to know what the Delta State Contributory Health Scheme is doing.
Okay.
So I just saw your question. Yes, so that's what the number is for.
Thank
you. Dr. Alithia, you said a lot of people don't like using chlorhexidine gel because they want the cut to fall off early. So they still use toothpaste, cow dung, and salt. I think that's where we need to do more education so that we can teach them what to do to prevent neonatal tetanus. Thank you so much, Dr. Kenneth. God bless you. So we're ending this meeting now. Thank you, everyone. See you same time next month. God bless you. Bye.